This episode of Clear Shots is presented by the Impulse Podcast Network. Check out impulsepodcasts.com for more info.
Welcome to the Clear Shots Podcast with Seth Skinner and Jake Jones.
Hey everybody, it's Seth from Clear Shots. Today is finally episode 100. We finally made it. BFam is on the show today, so please enjoy.
Shit, these guys are good. Don't give them clear shots. Not bad, assholes. Engage! Engage!
I already clapped earlier.
What's up? Oh, he already clapped. He already clapped. It doesn't count. Mine doesn't. That's the only one that counts. Welcome to Clear Shots.
What did I tell you? What did I fucking tell you?
Mine's the only one that counts. I said it already.
Control freak.
Fucking right.
Oh,
Dude,
man,
we
we're
should
starting this
rename
off
this.
rocky.
We should rename this to Click featuring Adam Sandler because you are the only one with the remote.
Okay. Well, I don't have a remote.
Funny games. That's what I was thinking of. Two completely different movies.
Yeah, they are. Holy shit. Jesus.
All right, go ahead.
Welcome to episode 100, everybody. We started it off strong. I am Seth Happy Time Harry Skinner. For those who don't know, he's the guy from Aqua Teen with the knife for a hand. The little fucking doll.
Oh, my God. Fuck. I'm Jake Willie Nelson Jones.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I'm BFam, the two meats.
Two meats.
It's two different kinds of meat. It's like a club, but not as good paired together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. I suppose. Yeah, man. We did it. We finally got here. From day one, dude, we couldn't wait for episode 100. And now what's going to happen? Yeah, we've been
saying this since the beginning.
From day one.
I didn't even know we were still going to be friends.
We were like...
I didn't think you guys were still going to be friends.
I didn't think we were going to be friends, no. No, I mean, in honesty, realistically, I probably couldn't do it with anyone else. Realistically. Because I feel like it's hard to get guests in here in general. And that's people who are just coming to do it once.
Yeah.
But to show up like all the time. When we do it weekly, so that's pretty... It's tough. I mean, I know you're working a lot and shit, so...
Yeah, about 50, 60 hours.
I mean...
But, I mean, my rule... The one rule I have for the ER and in the kitchen is if I have a podcast scheduled, you know, I can't be balls deep, you know?
Yeah. You gotta do it. It's episode 100.
It is episode 100.
Just tell them that every time.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're like, I thought you just did episode 100. Well, this is the
It's always.
This is episode 100 after the
It's
first
101.
Yeah. There we go. No, I think we did a good job.
It's a big deal, all right.
Yeah, it's
It is.
It is. Yeah, I don't know. I just like... I don't know. It's very weird to think that we did that many. You know? Like, it really kind of is.
Oh.
Because we just... I mean, that first time we did it, we just kind of sat down and we had a microphone.
Well, yeah, because it was the three of us.
Yep.
Yeah.
And wasn't it? It was literally a spur of the moment thing.
It kind of
like,
was.
we were hanging out. You and I were hanging out the day before because we had we had something the next day where you were here.
Probably watching like UFC or something.
UFC or WWE or something, and then we're like, "Fuck it, come
Yeah.
back tomorrow. We'll get this all situated."
We're like, we have this one microphone. Let's set it on the fucking table, and then we'll
Scream into
talk
it.
into it.
We didn't even have headphones then. We
Room mic.
Yeah, it was. That's what it was.
basically.
Yeah, but like we didn't have any plan There was no plan, and there never is.
Yeah, there still isn't.
Not usually, no.
I don't think.
Especially if your name's Jesse and you flake on 8 straight episodes,
Yeah,
then there's never a plan.
No plan at all.
He's not going to listen to this anyway, so.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he would have messaged me complaining a long time ago.
Dude, what the fuck?
Yeah. I mean, it's smart.
Yeah.
But yeah. But I want to say thanks to fucking everybody who, whether you've listened for like a second or fucking 100 hours, because that does, like, it gives you some sort of feedback, because we're really just doing it for the fuck of it. And
Yeah.
if people watch or listen or whatever, then they do.
You've got good friends.
I think
We definitely do.
yeah, and it's cool to be able to like pull in people who like I don't talk to like ever, or people that I've never even met. Like we've had that a couple times, and you know, it's a different thing. I feel like it's weird to sit down and like do this because you don't do it in any other situation really.
No. No.
Even if like if you're at a party or some shit, this doesn't really happen. Like there's a bunch of other shit going on around you, something distracts you. There's not really a time where you just sit down and fucking hang out.
Yeah. And I think my favorite thing as far as getting to see our friends and stuff, it kind of what's the word? I don't want to say the word humanize, because I feel like all of our friends are human for the most part.
Well,
most of us are, but it's like it's nice. You can see like a different side of your friends because you can have them on and actually talk about things that they're interested in, or we just rant about sports.
Yeah,
which I mean is gonna happen.
And
anyway.
they kind of their eyes just glaze over in the background.
Yeah, which I mean, fuck it.
That's
I
when
mean,
they're like,
they
okay,
knew
I
what
can-
they were getting into.
Yeah,
like,
they're like, well, I guess I can rub one out real quick. By the time I get back, they'll be talking about Rainbow Six Vegas.
yeah, exactly. But it's really it's funny because there's like for us, like we have the inside jokes and stuff, especially with you, Brian. Like the three of us had the good like the running gags and stuff, snowmobiling and such.
Yeah.
But like it's really funny to
Snowmobiling, etc.
The one.
I can't think of any other ones. But
No,
it's
we've
like,
got these running things.
like I like to
Snowmobiling,
hear like
others.
I like to hear listeners be like, oh yeah, I it's like there's no setup, but there's like a guarantee that like some like I don't know, man. It's like certain things are gonna get mentioned all the time, especially in the beginning when we first started, because we were kind of especially because we were having a lot of the same people on. Because I just looked at the list, we had you on 8 times in the first 50 episodes, and we've had you on once since episode 50,
Yeah,
which is fucking insane. And Bill, I think Bill is the only one that's like once every other month we have Bill on.
yeah, but
It's Bill.
Bill.
And we're gonna probably be having Dom on more often because he wants to be on, so he'll be like
Dom also is just like, I'll show up.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
like the most clutch thing. Like last week, our guest just forgot. I guess, who knows?
Or
Just didn't. Whatever. So we texted Dom at like 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock.
like an hour before.
Yeah, we're like, "What are you doing tonight?" He's like, "Nothing." I'm like, "You want to be on the show?" He's like, "Sure."
Fuck yeah. And then he's like, I also want to be on episode 100.
Yep. And yeah, so can't do that because we had to have you on.
Yeah. We had
Big
to.
mistake.
I love that he says had to.
We had to. It had
did
to be
have to,
Brian.
I guess.
Somebody else would have done it wrong.
Right, yeah. Well, it's the only way. You got to pay tribute. You know?
Yeah, exactly. So people see,
Yeah.
BFam on the list, and they're
Yeah,
like, "Yep, all right, here we go."
Dude,
gonna be
it's
a
funny
classic.
too though, because I've even had people come up and be like, "Oh shit, dude, when you guys were talking about fighting ravens and shit, I was like dying." I'm like, that's awesome to hear, because like I don't know that people actually listen to this.
Yeah. I had a friend of mine that it doesn't even live in Oswego anymore. Like he's not even. It's not that he's not a friend of mine. It's Evan. You're probably listening. Him and I know each other pretty
Shout out to Evan.
vaguely. Like, and he texted me. He's the one looking for the merch a while ago, and he's like, "Yeah, dude, I listen to every episode." I'm like, "That's fucking crazy." That like, we were friends a little bit in high school, and you live in Ohio now, and you still listen. That's just cool as fuck. And I the weirdest thing though, and this is just for me because you don't go out to the bar, but when I go out to the bar and people come up to me and start, because I'll wear the Clear Shot shirt out when I need some clout, people come up to me and be like, oh yeah, I listen to your guys' show all the time. It's awesome. And I'm like, who the fuck are you? Like, thanks.
Thanks. Who are you?
Who are you? Do you want to come on?
Usually
yeah.
that's how it goes.
Please be on.
Yeah. Yeah, so cool. Episode 100. And let's fucking, we were talking about reminiscing. We were looking through the clips and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
We're
We're going to have top 5 clips. Our top 5 clips, primarily my top 5 clips.
Yeah, I had a top. I didn't do it.
I was like, let's do both of our top 5 and then we'll like put them together.
Well,
and,
like
we'll
I'll make up a top 5. It'll take me
Yeah,
like
make a
only
top
like
5.
10, 15 minutes.
The clip of you falling down the stairs.
That's got to be one.
that
The
was
Tom
pretty
Hanks
good, yeah.
story is my
Yep.
when there's people I talk to about the show when they want to know what it's about, I immediately show them either the Tom Hanks clip or the Fighting the Raven or Easter if they have 10 minutes.
Oh, yeah, that
the
one.
Easter clip is one of my favorites too. Me falling down the stairs is great.
Yep.
And it
Yeah,
always,
that's funny because there's no video. Like that was one of the early ones.
Yeah, that
So
was
it's
like
just
episode
like
5 or
us
something.
being like, what just happened? Wait a
There,
minute,
well,
did he just-
there wasn't video to that one?
I don't
No,
think so.
no, we didn't start doing video until a few months.
Like,
ago.
I
like
think I just have
17
such a
maybe?
vivid memory of that happening that I remember what the room looked like and everything.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
It was-
how could you not?
Well, it's funny because you
burned
don't
into
even
my
hear
memory.
me fall down the stairs.
no,
you
we're
just
like, wait, whoa.
it's so silent. If you turn it up really high, you can hear it.
and then we just hear Brian go, "Yep, Jake just fell down the stairs,"
Yeah.
and then he immediately
"You
goes,
just fell down
"Don't
the
check on him."
Don't check on him. That's the nicest thing anyone's ever said. Oh fuck.
Yeah, and I stopped wearing those fucking socks.
Yeah, that's what
That
does
was
it.
was that what it was? The socks, the traction. You
I
didn't have any
had
traction?
those construction socks, the ones that like the gold toes that are like I don't know fucking how they
They
work.
construct things. They help you construct.
Yeah, gold toe socks.
Yeah.
I think it's a brand or something. Carhartt.
Oh yeah. Carhartt's actually a really good brand.
Yeah.
Except they're also expensive. So
Well, that's why it's a good brand.
yeah. Well, yeah, that's the thing. Just make really
That's not a guarantee.
yeah, just make shitty stuff and just charge a lot, and then it's a good brand.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know.
Pay more for those pre-stressed jeans and whatnot.
Yeah. I went to see Star Wars
I'm
last night.
stressed in these jeans.
Yeah.
I wore the wrong ones.
Stressed.
I just have anxiety about putting them on. It's just,
So you saw.
they're pre-stressed.
I saw Star Wars last night. It was pretty good. I don't know why everybody fucking likes to go hard on how bad the movies are.
I
didn't-
okay, so I haven't.
I'm not gonna
seen,
say it was fucking 14 out of 10. Like,
Right,
it was like pretty good, you know?
Yeah, I think like I haven't seen the last two, but my understanding of it is Rian Johnson and J.J. Abrams did not coordinate at all as far as what direction they wanted to take things. And so you had two very different ideologies about how that was going to go about. J.J. Abrams starts it off and kind of leaves it at like... and it could have gone
go
anywhere.
anywhere, yeah.
And then Rian Johnson takes it in such a hard, like, left or whatever. And then J.J. Abrams tries to, like, bring it back to what he wanted rather than continue in that way. And, like, some people will just say, well, Rian Johnson's whole thing was a mess. But it's like, you don't know where that was leading to.
Yeah. I mean, you would like to, honestly, like, I would like to see which way both of them would end up. But,
Right.
like, it definitely, the second one in the fucking, this series, it set up so many different weird loose ends.
Yep.
That when I went into the movie last night, I was like, how the fuck are they going to wrap all those things up? And somehow they kind of did in a weird way.
I don't have a comment for it.
It was very strange.
I
Like the way that they put all those things back together.
we didn't talk about it because you haven't seen it yet. But Star Wars is like it's like mine and my dad's thing. Like we always went and saw the Star Wars movies and stuff. So we saw The Force Awakens twice. We saw it in IMAX and 3D, and then like 2 days later we went and saw it at the Oswego Theater. Force Awakens was wicked good. The Last Jedi was fun. It wasn't. I didn't think it was good. It was a wicked kick-ass movie. Like it's decent. It's the sequel trilogy is way better than The Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones, because those two were just messes. Revenge of the Sith is pretty fucking badass.
It is really badass.
Yeah.
But my problem with The Last Jedi was that like what Brian said, it was so narrow. Like The Force Awakens ends, they blow up Starkiller Base, and like
the problem I had with The Force Awakens was it felt like it was a very similar story.
The New
to,
Hope all over again. Yeah, that was another issue I had with it. But whatever. They have to, start it off. I mean, because you can't look at A New Hope and then A Force Awakens. I mean, it's just a standard hero's journey.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
And then The Last Jedi was just like, hey, let's make it so. They're like, hey, you ever see Empire Strikes Back? All right. Right, we're gonna do all that, but all the important stuff that happens is gonna be done with characters that nobody's seen before. Because like two or three of the biggest scenes in The Last Jedi happen with characters that are introduced in The Last Jedi, and then they also kill a main character off screen.
Well, like if you're watching any movie,
yeah, that's
like,
true.
You're going to experience brand new characters, maybe even an entire cast of new characters. And they're going to go about performing the biggest things in that movie.
But I
think
think
the fact that it's a series, I don't think you can blame the fact that they introduced a couple new characters and they had big parts of it.
It's not exclusively that. It's that I wish the characters we had already seen were doing that stuff. Okay. Instead of like, oh, here's a character that this is their entire arc. Nothing in their arc changes. And then, they do this huge thing, and then they're not coming back because they die. It's a suicide mission or whatever, so they die. But so many people hated the Rose character, the Asian girl from The Last Jedi, that she was like a huge part of The Last Jedi. I didn't have a problem with her. I just thought she was kind of annoying. But then she's not even in the newest one.
Well, like
she was in it, wasn't she?
She was in it for like 3 or 4 scenes.
She wasn't like playing any big part, really. Like,
yeah.
I had heard that the reaction to her was so overwhelmingly negative that like she left all social media because of the flack that she was getting.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like she didn't want to come back to do it. Because like if that's how the fans are going to treat her, why would you?
Yeah,
I think, well, realistically good for her though, because you don't want to. I actually respect when someone leaves social media because it's just a fucking a mess.
It's trash.
Yeah,
but The Last Jedi also just had so much stupid. I talked to Cam about it. I've definitely bitched to you about Marvel humor, the Marvel movie humor.
Sure,
it's
but that's the thing. You got to kind of expect it when Disney is going to run the show in a way.
Well, it's okay to expect it, but it's still annoying as hell.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, The Last Jedi...
It kills the drama of a lot of scenes.
Exactly.
It's
and I'll tell you what, the Rise of Skywalker didn't seem to have that much of it, really.
No, a lot of the humor was very good, especially C-3PO. He was fucking hilarious. And that Babu Frick.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey!
You know what was cool was
guy.
that they made you like because C3PO's been around for like basically the entire series, and you don't really think about him because he's kind of
hasn't aged a day.
Yeah, that's true. You don't think about him though because he's just like an ancillary character or whatever. But when he's getting shut off, there's like a weird emotional moment there because you're like, oh shit, like I actually care about this character, even though I haven't really felt like I cared about him the whole time.
It's really funny. So we'll spoil this part, Brian, not that you really are invested in it. So a key point of the newest one, spoilers, is that they have to wipe C-3PO's memory in order for him to break his programming or something. He has to decode.
It was how they could extract the
he has to like decode
whatever.
a Sith artifact, but since he's a good guy, he's not allowed to even read Sith. So they reset his brain. But then, like a half hour later, they R2-D2 as a backup of his memories, but it's only backed up to like episode 6, so he has no idea what's going on, and he's slowly getting filled in throughout the rest of the movie. And I thought that was fucking hilarious. Like when
that sounds great.
it was like the best part is, so they reset his brain, and the first guy he meets is the little midget, like little dwarf, not dwarf. He's like a little imp named Babu Frick. And he's the first guy. So C3, he gets his brain reset and he comes back and he goes, "Oh, hello, I'm C3PO, human cyborg relations." And the little imp is like, "My name is Babu Frick. Let's be friends," or whatever. So then later in the movie, they're like, "Oh, we got to go and check in on Babu Frick," and C3PO in the background is like, "Oh, he's my best friend."
He's one of my oldest friends.
And I don't know, like the humor was great. It reminded me of like the original trilogy, because the original trilogy was pretty funny, but it wasn't like The Last Jedi literally opens up with a "Yo Mama"
I
joke.
think the things that made it funny was the fact that it was as weird as it was.
Yes.
Sure.
And as we've come to know Star Wars as a franchise, it's gotten less and less weird.
Yeah, you're more accustomed to it.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what's bringing it back. Like the sense of, I don't understand this world anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm coming to, experience the weirdness of it.
It's very because The Mandalorian,
Because
I've
like
been
everyone
watching.
knows everything about the Force now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sith, Jedi,
Laser swords,
Yeah.
stormtroopers, pretty much. And Red Letter Media had it great. They're like, this is how to make a Star Wars movie: have a Jedi, have a Sith, have one scene with a lightsaber, and then have the good guys win, and that's a Star Wars movie. It's like pretty much
I guess.
have a stormtrooper, have a TIE fighter in there somewhere.
Yeah.
But fucking, what was I gonna?
Yeah, the good
The
guys.
Mandalorian. I've been watching that. I don't know if you have. It's
I
pretty good.
I haven't, because I might. Is the whole thing out, like the whole first
Yeah, the whole
season or
thing's
whatever?
out.
Okay,
So
I
you
might
can
just get like a
knock
free
it out.
trial and
Yeah.
just not pay for Disney.
I can
Plus.
I can
care.
give you Disney Plus. I have it.
Oh boy.
But what I love about it is, and I noticed this because I after I watched The Rise of Skywalker, I rewatched A New Hope and Empire, and the biggest difference with the humor, because even the prequel trilogy did it wrong, was that it's very slapstick. So it was like I guess that's the right way to put it, like the humor that you would have in like Seinfeld, where it's just like
No, slapstick is
slapstick.
like
it was situational humor. Like there was
yeah. It's not Three Stooges.
no, okay, yeah, so I was wrong.
It's very
But it was very situational.
physical.
It wasn't forced, I guess is the best way to put it.
Right.
It was a lot drier.
Yeah,
That's what it was.
and that's my problem with Marvel movies, is that like you can't have, like you said, it takes the drama out of it. You have a whole scene where all this serious shit happens, and then like 5 seconds later, someone's making a fart joke.
Yeah. I really fucking thought that the scene with all the fleet of
joke.
Star Destroyers was
Commenting
wicked
on
cool
Captain
looking.
America's ass.
Yeah, exactly.
Honestly, the whole end of
That is America's ass.
Rise of Skywalker was really cool. Just the whole like the art style, I guess you could say, with the fleet of Star Destroyers and the Emperor in like that super dark room with the lightning flashing constantly. You never get like a good vision of his face. It's always like flashing in and out. Mm-hmm. Really cool.
Yeah, and the only complaints people really have are, like you guys said, with
The way it all
the
tied
direction,
in. Right.
because like there's no mention of the Emperor at all in the first two. And
No.
then literally
All of a sudden
he's
he's
reintroduced in the title crawl.
Yeah.
They're like the first line of the title call is like basically, "Oh no, the Emperor's back." Like, really?
Oh no! Actually, he's back.
Like,
The Emperor's back.
and this is the other thing is like if they had an extra movie, if it was a quadrilogy instead of a trilogy, it would have been perfect. Because then you wouldn't have to fill all this shit in all at once. Because the movie was super long. It was like 2 hours and 50 minutes or something.
Yeah, it was long.
And they had to cram all that in. And the movie itself only takes place within the manner of like 16 hours, I think. They have 16 hours to blow up the base,
Yeah, they should have just made it a 16-hour movie.
Yeah.
pretty much.
Do it all
Make
in real
make
time.
it a season of 24.
Yeah, put it out on Disney Plus.
That was a wicked good show.
Yeah, it was.
That show was sick.
I watched the newest like Spider-Man there, the Amazing
Far From
Spider-Man.
Home?
No, the Amazing Spider-Man, like the newer one from like whatever it was, the one after the Tobey Maguire ones.
Oh, with Andrew Garfield.
Yeah.
Andrew.
I was like, this is okay, but it's not that good.
Yeah.
Like there wasn't anything to it. It felt like just a movie I was watching. Like I still feel like the Tobey Maguire ones are the shit. Like those.
Did you
were
watch
so
the
good.
Tom Holland ones yet? Because I really like those two, Homecoming and Far From Home.
No.
They're good, but like I saw something about it actually like earlier in the week. There was a comment about, here's this kid that they're claiming is your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, and he even says it himself throughout the movies, and he spends the majority of the last two movies that he was a big part of protecting Tony Stark from all the people that this trillionaire, businessman, weapon creator has fucked over the past, 20 years or whatever. And it's just like, you're not protecting the people, you're protecting your friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one thing I don't like about all those Marvel movies, and the way they try to mash them all together and like make it make sense in a weird way. They're like, well, we'll put them all in the same universe and then we'll see if we can make them make sense. Which I guess for the fans is kind of awesome because they get to see all their shit in one movie or whatever. But
Right.
I don't know. I was never big on that. I also never got into watching all those, like the Avengers and shit. But I feel like I would have to like be invested in all of those franchises,
Right.
and then to get like what they got out of
there's
Avengers.
20 some of those movies
Yeah,
now.
I'm not. doing
And
that.
I think I've maybe seen like 8. I'm bad at.
Yeah,
keep
I mean,
up
I've
with
seen like
movies.
Ant-Man. And that's about it. Like the
I
Ant-Man
enjoyed
movie.
all of the sort of offshoot movies more than I've enjoyed the ones that I see as being the main line.
Yeah.
Because like the characters that aren't the main Avengers. Like I watched the first Avengers movie and I'm just like, this movie is really bad.
I never read like the Spider-Man comics or anything, but the Amazing Spider-Man was actually it was more based on the comics, which it definitely felt like, because it had like Gwen Stacy in it and shit. And it felt more true to what the comics were supposed to be, like kind of a goofy guy. And it goes back to the type of comedy you were talking about, where it's just kind of, just goofy kind of shit, the way the character is. And I think that's the way Spider-Man's supposed to be. But the way that Tobey Maguire portrayed it was different. It was a little more serious. And it was more kind of jumpy through the storylines. It wasn't the same storyline because they went straight to like the Mary Jane Watson era sort of thing.
No.
I think Spider-Man 2 with Tobey Maguire is the best superhero movie ever made.
Yeah, I barely remember the second one.
That's the one with
Is
Doc
it Doc
Ock.
Ock? Okay. That one has Joey Diaz in it.
Yeah, that's my favorite one. I mean, unless you count Deadpool, but even then, Deadpool's just kind of fun to drink beer and eat pizza.
What about
too.
the Nolan Batman trilogy?
Oh,
That's-
that's fair. Yeah, The Dark Knight's pretty fucking amazing.
Yeah, it's too ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, all three of them are really good. I've actually gotten to really appreciate Batman Begins because I finally rewatched that one a while ago, and that
Yeah.
one's actually
Yep.
really fucking
Yeah, it
good.
is.
Scarecrow's great in that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Liam Neeson's in it.
Yeah, it was really fucking good.
Just actually being Ra's al Ghul and not that Asian guy.
Yeah. Did you guys see Joker yet?
No.
I haven't. I thought about renting it.
Dude, it's so
I
good.
really hear it's just awesome.
so good. We watched that. It was me.
It's weird to think that the guy that basically has only ever made the Hangover trilogy is the guy that directed that, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Brian Callen.
I have a bit of reluctance about watching it just because I think that Todd Howard, the director, the shit that he's said online leading up to that movie coming out was just, he sounds like an asshat. But
Sometimes you gotta be nice at it,
yeah, he was like,
If it happens, it happens.
you can't make a comedy movie in today's culture. And it's just like, what the fuck does that mean? Like, I think some of the comedy that's out there right now and like a lot of it isn't even getting any flack. Like,
Right.
It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia like pushes more boundaries than I think any other live action comedy show.
Yeah.
And how many people are persecuting any of them? over it.
Exactly.
Yeah, you know, I've
Hardly
always
any.
wondered too, like if you're grandfathered into those things, because I know South Park gets away with a
No,
lot of shit that you
because,
shouldn't
like,
get away with. Realistically,
Otherwise, Seinfeld would be all right.
yeah,
But Seinfeld gets a shit ton of flack.
yeah, yeah. I remember hearing,
He's also like dating a 19-year-old, so that's
oh yeah, that hurts.
yeah. I'm sure.
I remember hearing Steve Carell talk about The Office and how they wouldn't be able to do that kind of shit nowadays. But I was like, well, I have watched The Office like 18 times all the way through,
Yeah.
and I don't feel like it's that fucking like offensive to
There's
people.
nothing about it that couldn't be done today.
Like, what are they talking about?
The only episode that I think people get upset with.
The thing is, it would have a hard time being greenlit today.
Yeah. Oh yeah, maybe.
As soon as it gets out there into the public, people are going to consume it.
Yeah.
It's so wild that show took off so hard, especially after like the UK version was 2 seasons, and
Yep.
arguably one of the best shows ever. I think.
The
I
UK
really,
version?
yeah, I really liked the UK version. I thought it was really fucking funny. Like Gervais is just really good in that awkward sort of style.
Like our friend Tim, he tried to get me into it during high school. He gave me like a DVD that was like the first 6 episodes, and I couldn't get into it at the time.
Yeah.
Maybe I would enjoy it now, but back then
It's definitely a tough watch for some people because there's a different. It's like a. I mean,
it's British.
yeah, it's a different.
Dude, British
thing.
humor is fucking weird.
It is.
But it's so you have to like awkward comedy is what it really is, and it's
like-
very very awkward.
The thing is, like, I liked Monty Python a lot growing up. I liked what was it, Little Britain?
Yeah,
So it's like I should have liked it.
little.
Little bits.
That shit, you fucking bitch.
I think it's a little different though. Like I think it's just I don't know if it's the same style. I would imagine like somewhat the same. Okay, I was gonna pour some of this. Yeah, I probably will. But I don't know. Like I said, it's very like specifically like awkward. Everything's awkward. Every situation's fucking awkward.
Well, I've recommended it to both of you guys before, I think. The Ricky Gervais show that's on Netflix, Derek. Have you
I've
watched
seen bits and pieces of that.
That's probably in my top 10 for best shows all time. Cuz it's Ricky Gervais plays
Like a literal
he
retard.
plays he plays an autistic nursing home caretaker. And the whole movie is just him
being autistic.
he like knows that it's like Forrest Gump kind of. He knows that he's not smart and all this, but he doesn't care because he makes people happy. But the whole show is there's different antagonists or different things that pop up that try and bring him down, but he just doesn't care. But he's so like unabashedly confident. Is unabashedly the right word?
Could be. I don't know the show well enough to
I'm
know
gonna
exactly
look up
what
the
you're meaning.
definition. So, but I think you guys should watch that because it's really good. It starts off really slow, of course. Yeah, so he's so shamelessly confident, that it just works. Like there's a scene. It's like the 4th episode in. They're getting like investigated by. Not investigate. They're getting like a review by this insurance company, and they're like, "Who's this guy?" And they're like, "Oh, that's Derek. He's one of the caretakers." And they like ask him all these questions, and he doesn't know enough to answer them. And they're like, "Sir, are you retarded?" And he goes, "So? What if I am? What if I'm not? What does it mean?" And it just, I don't know, it goes off like that. And then once you realize, oh, he actually is something wrong with him.
Yeah.
Then you realize, like, oh shit, so he's still an awesome guy, and the comedy is that very awkward comedy.
It's very specific. Yeah, it is. Very
I don't know how to
specific.
explain it because the UK Office has the same thing,
Yeah.
and there's another British show that I've seen.
The Great British Bake Off.
No,
Is that the one?
No,
That one's
The British
been
Bulldog.
talked
was
about
it
a lot.
the In-Betweeners? Is that a British show?
I think so.
I was gonna.
But
I was gonna say some wrestlers' names.
I got an argument with somebody at work yesterday because I told them The Office is better than Parks and Recreation, and I feel like it's. A lot of people think it's close.
correct.
I don't think it's that close. I really don't see the appeal of Parks and Rec.
Parks and Rec is pretty good, but
it's good.
not-
It's
not the
decent.
There's certain characters in Parks and Rec that I think I enjoy more than any of the characters in The Office. But I don't think that they carried the show enough to make it better
right.
overall. Like, I really enjoy, what's his name?
Offerman.
I like Adam Scott's character,
Yeah.
and
Like-
is it Joe?
I
McHale?
relate a lot to Adam Scott's character.
Yeah,
But, like, I don't think that he made the show better.
Yeah.
right. Like you can.
I just like Nick Offerman, like as a person.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I like Parks and Rec. I think it's pretty decent. It's good, but I don't
Aubrey
think it's-
Plaza does a really good job in that show.
Yeah, but I think what
She could just make any show better. In my
Yeah.
opinion,
Yeah.
but-
She got a very like specific
body
like-
language.
yeah, like a mood.
yeah.
It's very weird.
And like a lot of it just comes from her being awkward and tense, and then just letting that show.
Yeah, like I wonder how much of it's actually like the way she is.
I think a lot of it, at least like she has that same energy going into like interviews or like late night talk shows.
Yeah. She has like such a resting like I don't want to be here face, you know.
Yeah.
like everything that's going on around me doesn't matter.
I think with The Office, every single character is important in
Yeah.
one way or another. And I think with Parks and Rec, you could probably take out a character, 2 or 3, and
Yeah.
Parks and Rec
Yeah.
is pretty much, in my opinion, it's pretty much just Amy Poehler and Nick Offerman,
Yeah.
and then Star-Lord and Adam Scott and Aziz. What
Yeah,
the
that's a
fuck is
good
that
ass-
guy's name? What the fuck is that guy's name? Star-Lord. Chris Kyle? No, that's American Sniper.
No, you're Chris something, right?
Chris D'Elia? What the fuck is his name?
It is
Pratt.
Chris
Chris
Pratt.
Pratt. Yeah.
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 But yeah, like
my favorite line in that entire show was one of his, where he says, so like, Amy Poehler's character, Leslie, was sick, and so he was trying to look up the symptoms of her illness to try to figure out what it might have been. And he's like, I think I figured it out. She's got connection issues or something like that. It's like like he didn't have internet.
yeah, like it's a good show. It's just you could get those 5. So
And then
Nick
add,
Offerman,
then
Chris
you have
Pratt,
to add Dwight K. Schrute into the mix. And then you
Amy
win.
Poehler, Aubrey Plaza, and like
Plants.
Leslie Jones or whatever the fuck her name is, Rashida Jones.
Yeah.
There's like 5 characters in Parks and Rec that you, but like in The Office, I mean, even if you took away like Angela or
Or Oscar or something.
Oscar, like Creed is my favorite, but I also really
Kevin is, like,
enjoy
one of my
Kevin.
favorites, yeah.
But I was just rewatching some of it yesterday, but because it was on at work.
Yeah, there's like as soon as Michael leaves though, it gets annoying as shit when like Ed Helms is like the lead.
Yeah,
that's when it gets annoying.
who's the guy that's like, I'm the fucking Lizard King? I cannot remember his
Oh,
name.
yeah.
I can never remember his name.
He comes in as like the boss because
For
he's
like
like the head of
just like a few episodes.
yeah, like this. He's like the Saber
Representative,
exec or
but
whatever.
he's great too. When he invites everybody to his house for the party,
yeah,
and
yeah,
he
everybody's
like
trash.
he gets
They get
trashed
naked
and
in the pool and
Yeah.
shit.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's that thing. Like I think out of all the shows that have come out since we've been able to watch them, I think Always Sunny is probably the greatest show. It's probably one of the greatest shows ever made. But The Office is up there. And I think there's just a solid tier between The Office and Parks and Rec is my whole argument.
It's really funny if you watch the first few episodes of The Office, US, and then you watch the UK version, because like a lot of the shit, even the lines are the same.
Yeah.
And I was listening to a podcast with
Ricky Gervais?
no, why can't I think of his name?
Steve Carell?
Nope, Dwight Rainn Wilson.
Ving Rhames.
But Rainn Wilson was on he was on like Pete Holmes' podcast, and he was talking about like how he didn't really understand the character too much, and then he was basically just talking about how they basically just took all those lines from the UK version, which I mean kind of makes sense, I guess.
Yeah.
We actually saw like not that long ago a fucking UK version of that 70s show that came out.
I think we're actually the three of us in here talking about
Probably. It was probably that.
And then the next episode, I remember we showed it to Josh because Josh was talking about it, and we showed it to him, and he got really upset.
And it's funny because it's the same thing where they just kind of took the same fucking lines and then they just Britishized it, you know?
Yep.
If that's a word. It is now.
I think a British Always Sunny would be funny because, like, by the second season, they all would have been stabbed by immigrants while they were walking down the street.
Yeah.
They can't have it in London.
No.
You know, I had to do it to them.
Gotta do it to him. Yeah.
So what were we talking about?
Oh, we were talking about all kinds of different things. Right?
Snowmobiling?
Yeah.
I don't even remember what episode that was in.
Snowmobiling?
3.
Oh, it was a long
3?
time ago.
Was it really 3?
It might be.
That's probably
honestly.
true.
Like one of the first few.
Check to see what episodes I was in.
Google it.
I think it was the second one that I was in.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it had
Did
to
you-
have been 3.
Did you see that?
You were in 1, 3, 5, 9, 14, 19, 28, 50, and 88.
Jesus.
But Bill is in the lead. He's in 2, 7, 11, 21, 29, 38, 49, 67, 73, 84, and 94.
in the lead.
Ill Bill.
In the lead like it's a race.
He's in the lead.
That's all right.
We'll
Let's
catch
see.
him one of these days.
Yep. We had I forgot we had Matt on. That was crazy. I forgot we had Matt.
Oh yeah.
McCabe?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was funny. He was like reaching out to me for some reason.
He's like, help.
And
I need somebody.
he was just like, man, I listened to every episode, and it's just like, dude, why aren't you reaching out to them? Why are you reaching out to me?
He's got to talk to the fans, you know? I saw this article about Akon having a city, and he's building a city. It's called Akon City. It's in like West Africa or some shit.
Okay.
He says that the entire currency is going to be
V-Bucks for Fortnite.
no, it's going to be a cryptocurrency called A-Coin.
That works for me.
It's so wild that shit is happening.
Something just happened.
Oh, really? Did Akon start building this city?
Luke Kuechly just retired,
Oh, no shit.
Shit.
and you're a Panthers fan.
How old is Luke Kuechly?
28.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. He could have played a little bit longer.
He had like 4 concussions.
Yeah.
Severe concussions.
Yep.
Yeah, he could have played a little longer, right?
But
Linebackers are used to concussions, right? They get just...
Yeah.
They're constantly hitting dudes.
the good news is that the Panthers got that new coach from Baylor, Matt Ruhul.
Yeah. We'll see how that goes.
Brian Wagner has been in the league for a long time. Or
I like
Bobby
Ron a
Wagner.
lot,
Is that
but-
what his
Bobby
name is?
Wagner.
He plays for the Seahawks, that middle
Yeah.
linebacker. He's been in the league for a long time. And you fucking... How is he not dead? Like, how do you play middle linebacker for that long and not
Plays,
die?
I mean, as good as Luke Kuechly was, or as great as he was a very fucking dangerous.
He was athletic, and because of that, you get, like, aggressive.
Well, he played dangerously.
Yeah.
I mean, a few, like, I think one of the concussions he had a few years ago, he, like, straight up just, like, he dove as much as he could.
Yeah.
And he got, like, as the runner was going, he got kneed right in the face. Still manages to take him down. But, like, you know, I mean, you get guys like Clay Matthews who's still playing, right?
Yep.
He's on the Raiders, isn't he?
He plays with the Rams.
The Rams. You know? So...
It's such a tough fucking
Well,
game.
it's like fucking London Fletcher. London Fletcher played for 18 seasons. as a middle linebacker.
Yeah, that's fucking crazy.
It's
a tough
that sucks.
fucking game.
Shouts out to Luke Kuechly. He's not going to hear this, but he's probably one of the best linebackers I've ever seen. So
Yeah, I would say so.
Oh, and also
You wonder if he'll.
Here's the reason I was really liking them.
yeah, that sucks.
Going from someone who didn't watch football at all growing up to suddenly just being like, I'm just going to arbitrarily choose this team.
Yeah, I remember when you were hanging out with us. Didn't you pick a name from a hat?
Like, okay, so when I was
hat was
in third grade, my teacher, Mr. Fayette, was like, let's do this project where we send letters to sports teams that you grew up with or like or whatever. And like I was like, no one in my family watches sports. So
who is sports?
basically, I like there was a sheet of paper that had a whole bunch of different sports teams on it, and I just like drew like dots with a marker on different ones, and like they were the only one that responded back to me.
Oh,
And
that's sick.
yeah. And like I wish I still had the stuff, but it was like I had like, you know, a picture with the full roster.
That's so
There's
cool.
a picture with the mascot. And like a bunch of the stuff was signed too.
That's
So
cool.
it was like it probably might be worth something,
Probably.
but I have no idea where it is. But it was just like I just remembered that, and I looked at like how they did the previous year, and it was like, okay, they're like middle of the line.
Yeah, but they
So
were on
it's
the
like-
upswing too, though, because they
Yeah,
had a good year.
I didn't
the-
even
the next year.
look back that far. It was just like they're in the middle of the road. I don't want to choose a team that's like winning all the time. I don't want to choose a team that's losing
Yeah,
every
you don't
game.
want to hop on the Patriots bandwagon or something.
Right.
Well, how old? What year were you born in?
91.
So if you were in third grade, that would have been 1999. Panthers are a solid team to pick in '99. You don't want to be like a Rams fan. Then you'd be a fucking bitch.
I hear good things about the Panthers, like as an organization.
No, dude, the Panthers are one of the teams. Like my dad hates the Panthers because we have family that lives in Carolina.
Well, Carolina, if you
And he
have
takes it out on the Panthers. But like,
That's such a good reason to hate a team.
the Panthers are
I've
one
got
of
a
those
family
teams.
there.
The Panthers are one of those teams that I love. Like I love Cam Newton when they had Steve Smith Sr., fucking one of the best receivers ever. I'm really bummed.
Well, Carolina loves football. I mean, that's like
Yeah.
just a kind of a football area.
I'm really bummed about Keek. I mean, I'm glad he is because like
You want to see guys get out, though.
well, like, just like Andrew Luck, which is still amazing.
I mean,
to me.
I think that was early for sure. I mean, I get it. He gets injured all the time, but like, you know, fucking chances are you have a season where you don't get injured.
But that's the thing is, and when Andrew Luck retired, I remember the big thing that my friends were talking to me about was like, oh, well, this is the end of football. It's like, no, it's not, because the fucking college football championship was on last night, and it got higher ratings than literally any other show from all of last year besides other football shows, like other football games. Like, football's not going anywhere. Sorry.
Plus the XFL, dude.
Dude,
XFL starts in a
my
couple
buddy
weeks.
Travis was just asking me about the XFL. He's like, dude, what's your opinion on it? I go, I'm glad there's more football. I hope it lasts long. I'm not gonna watch it. Like it's,
What do you think about Eric Andre?
I'm glad he's
glad
dead. But yeah, so shouts out to Kuechly and the Panthers. But dude, Cam Newton is like seriously such a class act. He's such a good dude. The charity work he does. He's one of those guys that he's what Jameis Winston should be. One of those guys that fucked up a lot when he was in college and
More like Jameis Lewiston.
very fair. But Tampa Bay is another one of those teams that I like to root for, so I can't say too much. But Cam Newton did this thing.
I like rooting for teams when they're bad. You know
Same.
what I mean? And then when they get good, I'm like, fuck that team. Get away from me.
Like
'Cause
Tennessee. Oh, by the way, you and Dom owe me big time because you guys both were talking mad shit because I picked Tennessee to beat Baltimore last week,
Yeah.
and they did.
No,
Spoiler
they did
alert.
not.
They fucking crushed them. You guys both called me retarded.
I don't know if we went that far. But
But yeah, I don't think they're beating the Chiefs, but I'm rooting for them.
When this
to beat
comes
the
out,
Chiefs.
we'll know.
Yeah.
Because this will be like the Wednesday after.
That's true.
But,
We're all going to be, we're way behind.
Yeah, we are. But
4 teams left, dude. I'm scared.
there was this thing there was a whole
Green
news-
Bay hung in.
I'm scared as fuck.
That was a close game.
It's a fucking horrifying game. And one of these days, it's just going to be, I'm going to go into cardiac arrest in one of these games. Because Green Bay is so good at scaring the shit out of you as a fucking fan.
Oh yeah. Like I don't remember. It was probably 2 years ago now, but there was one game where, like, we're all at. It's when you were still at the old house.
It was the Cardinals
was it the
game.
one with 2 overtimes?
It was the Cardinals game.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah.
It was like
Where-
an NFC championship game, I think. And Larry Fitzgerald had like a 90-yard fucking run or something.
Yeah, to open up the second overtime, he catches a slant pass and goes from like the 7 all the way down to like
that
the
was
5.
after we had a Hail Mary touchdown, like a fucking 70-yard pass.
Yeah.
into
Yep.
the end zone.
Yep.
Yep.
No, you know what my favorite football memory is with you two? Well, the 3 of us was last year, the year before, where it was last year where it was Packers Bears to kick off the season. I know they did it this year too.
Mm-hmm.
It was Packers Vikings last year, where the Packers were down 14-0 at halftime, and then they came back and won. It was like 31-17, and you were like, "Dude, every time they score, I'm gonna be drinking this Velvet." And then you got they got 3 straight touchdowns, and then you were just hammering the Black Velvet. And I remember even Brian and I were like, "Dude, this isn't good." Like, and
God damn it, they're gonna win it.
I ended up staying until like 5 a.m. We played fucking Super Mega Baseball or some shit until like 5 a.m.
Yeah, well, it's not
or
like-
Rocket League or I don't remember. That was great. I loved the Super Bowls too, even though the last one I had to leave early for Rams Pats. That one Super Bowl when it was Denver and Carolina, that was a rough one because none of us were happy about that game.
No.
I don't know if you were rooting for Denver. I know I wasn't. I was rooting for Carolina
I didn't really care either.
because I don't
way.
like Peyton Manning.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't like people that cheat and do steroids and then get away with it because their last name's Manning.
But, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the Seahawks are pretty good at cheating, but no one talks about that, right?
The Seahawks?
Yeah. Remember how they got all that shit about pumping noise into the stadium?
That was the
Having,
Falcons.
No, that was definitely the Seahawks.
I don't know.
Yeah, there was a bunch of shit that was like,
That was Atlanta.
no, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was.
They're just
Google
piling the bird noises.
Pretty positive. Seattle has been caught multiple times for cheating. But everybody likes to talk about New England, so
Yeah.
they're the cheaters, you know.
Yeah. Well, they're winningest team of the past
It
decade.
was the Falcons.
The Seattle
I
Falcons.
type in Seattle Seahawks fake crowd noise, and the first thing that comes up is the Falcons lost a draft pick for pumping in fake crowd noise.
No, I'm pretty sure there's a thing.
Either way.
I don't know. You got to Google it harder.
Sports.
Either way, yeah, sports. This is the football part.
Also, that fucking stadium's designed to be loud too.
Well, yeah. I have my Super Bowl pick, and this is just for my heart. I just don't want San Francisco to win. I don't care who it is. It could be the Chiefs. It could be the Titans. It could be the Packers. Shit, the Patriots could be put back into the playoffs and win the Super Bowl, and I would be fine.
They're just like, we'll give the Patriots 2 byes, and we'll. Let
The
them play
only
the Super
reason I
Bowl."
don't want San Francisco to win is because I don't want Matt Johnson to be happy.
Yeah.
Because all that guy does is talk shit. But when the 49ers are bad, he doesn't talk shit to anybody. But now the 49ers are good again, so he's talking shit again as if they haven't been a laughingstock since before I was born.
Right. Well,
Fucker.
that's how it goes.
So I'm rooting for Tennessee, Kansas City, and Green Bay. And if San Francisco wins the Super Bowl, I'm drinking a bottle of 151 on camera.
all right.
By the way, I'm buying a bottle of 151 for the Super Bowl.
Yikes.
It's locked.
Yeah. It's good.
Yeah, man. I don't know. Football's wild.
Yeah.
It's so weird, dude. Wouldn't expect any of those teams, honestly, to be like playoff teams.
I thought like my pick for the Final Four this year was not any of those 4. I'm an asshole, so obviously I had the Cowboys and the Saints in the NFC. And I actually like
Both
before
of them did good.
before
did
the
good.
season
Saints,
before the season started.
I thought the Saints were going fucking all the way.
Yeah.
And then I don't know what
I
happened.
had Cowboys, Saints, and then I had Patriots and Ravens.
Classic.
So
I've been watching fucking Monster Energy Supercross.
yeah,
it's
you were
fun
talking
to
about
watch.
that. Wait, you were watching it? I thought
I
you
was
were
watching
playing
it too, yeah. Because I've been playing it,
Oh,
so
okay.
I was like, I've been playing it, and so I was like, well, the season's like they're like the whole thing just kicked off because they did Anaheim like 2 weeks ago or whatever,
Right.
and it's really fucking crazy, like how big the gaps can be in those races. You can have like a 15-second gap, and they can catch up in fucking 2 laps.
Yep.
It's crazy. Like they got to find the right grooves and shit, and it's so wild. Like you're in the air, like more time than you're on the ground. It seems like.
Oh, Brandon Barrow says he's on his way.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what that means. He said surprise guest.
Yikes! I hope not.
Lock up all your stuff.
No, you're thinking of the
I'm thinking.
other guy.
I'm kidding, Brandon. I think. I hope.
Well, you probably don't have any DSs anymore, so
No.
you're safe.
Yeah, I do. I have one. I don't know where it is. It's probably-
Well, he'll find it.
I'll sniff it out. Where's the DSs? Yeah, I don't know. Supercross is fucking wild, man.
I thought it was motocross.
It is motocross, but supercross. So motocross is like usually outside in like bigger fucking tracks. Supercross is like in stadiums, and it's more tight tracks and a lot more of those like whoops and fucking short jumps.
Whoops.
Yeah, whoops are like those little really quick bumps. You know how they go over them
okay.
and you just and go those kind of things.
This is outside of my zone.
I thought you were just saying there's like more accidents.
Oh,
more
yeah.
whoopses.
Well, there probably
That's
are.
what I was
They
thinking.
probably are because it's like a tighter track too and shit. It's pretty crazy to watch though.
They just edit that sound in whenever someone falls.
Fucking Boomer from Sports Center. Whoop. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. He could go all the whoop.
Yeah.
Fuck, man, I miss Stuart Scott. God damn it. ESPN died with him.
Well, they were dying before that, so.
True. So, yeah.
So what else is going on, you know?
Just chilling, bro. Just chilling, man. I mean, there isn't really much.
We did talk about doing a D&D thing. It's one shot. That'd be
Yeah.
really sick.
Yeah, that's a possibility. Depending on how I go about writing it, it could even be a reoccurring.
Yeah.
But the intention originally was like, oh well, I'm on my week off, so maybe I can take the time to do that.
Yeah.
But then I was sick for half of it, so didn't really get very far.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool if even if we just did something like a side thing that's in that universe or took place years before or something like to set up something that's going on in your backstory.
Well, like, so the idea that I had, spoilers a little bit, it was like, so there's certain shit going on in the story right now revolving around Jake and something that he did before the campaign even started.
Oh, yeah. Something that they don't know about. Or do they know about?
Well, you've told them about it. So
Yeah.
like you stole the world's first firearm in terms of this world.
Way to steal, dude.
It's pretty sick. dude.
And basically he had done it to avoid it getting into the hands of this like military dictator type character
Right.
The Nazis.
who would want
Okay.
to mass produce this.
Like a Hitler fella.
More or less.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean,
It's,
Hans
you know,
Landa.
It's Adolf Hitler, you know.
Oh, wait, it says here. I can't be Norm Macdonald right now. Let me come back to it.
Yeah.
I want to listen to this.
But yeah, so it's like the inventor that you had stolen it from, and you stole all of his blueprints and stuff like that. He is in the process of recreating these And obviously the design is going to be, radically different than how it was the
So
first
did
time.
he have to take the blueprints too? I was gonna say he could just make another one, right?
No, I took all the blueprints.
He took all the blueprints.
and I
Yeah.
did another thing.
And messed the place up.
Yeah, I pretty much destroyed everything.
Yeah. So you did set him back roughly like 2 years.
Yeah.
And when you saw the Lithganian caravan passing through, and you saw those 2 boxes that were labeled with the inventor's initials on it, obviously, well, maybe spoiler, but I thought it was obvious. Those crates are containing the new version of his firearm.
Yeah.
And so, obviously, the introduction of firearms into D&D is,
Strange.
strange, a little bit problematic, but, like, okay, so if we fast forward something like 70 years, they're going to be a bit more commonplace.
Yeah.
And that's kind of something that I was going to do with the one-shot. Sort of investigating into this one area where
It's a good idea
they're a
because
bit
then you
more
can.
prevalent.
Well, that's a good idea because then you can experiment with how the firearms are gonna work
Yep.
as far as like how you're gonna play them out in the story and shit.
And that's the crazy thing too, because we were talking about it when I came over. Because usually when we have sessions, I come over before everybody else.
Yep.
And we were talking about how I had had Brian refresh my memory because the only time I used the gun, you guys weren't even around.
Like, you were on the other side of a building, and it was between you and like a random enemy.
Yeah. The only one
and
that was there was Velis, right?
he was coming around the corner at the same
Yeah.
time that happened.
So that was
And
what could,
sort of like how I was explaining it was like you had your hand crossbow like you normally do because you're trying to keep the gun hidden, but you also have your binding to the pistol as a Eldritch Knight.
yeah.
So it was like maybe the enemy like attacked your hand crossbow, knocked it out of your hand, and like in a panicked moment
I just went, like,
you summoned it
and just
and
boom.
shot him.
And like the image, like that's the thing with D&D, because my boss in the kitchen is a huge D&D fan. We talk about it all the time. We talk about it enough to the point where our head boss tells both of us to get to work because we'll literally sit in the office for like an hour and talk about D&D. And I remember after that happened, where I was explaining, like the imagery in my head was so sick because I like in my right hand or in my left hand I pull out the hand crossbow to shoot the guy. He like slices my arm open and I drop it, and then just because of the binding, basically like I have my hand like this, and then just the gun shows up and I shoot the guy in the mouth and kill him. And then all that other stuff happens. But that's why that one session when I was explaining the whole backstory, you had to bring me upstairs to explain what happened because I forgot that they weren't there for it.
Right.
For the whole gun thing. And I also forgot a couple other details. But yeah. No, I want to do that. And I want to... We were talking about... My boss wants me to... Because she has a campaign going. And she has like this... What she does with all the other, a couple other people in the hospital or Oswego Health in general, she has them come in as a guest and they just bring their character in and she just throws them in.
Yep.
But I was explaining to her the other day, like, my character's bullshit. Like, and like, no, well, but it's not even the fact that he's
OP.
OP. It's the fact that the one ability I have, the crossbow that I have, is a homebrew.
Yeah.
And I was explaining to him, like, how are you going to handle that? Because I can literally, like, on a bad turn, I do, like, 30 to 40 damage. Like, and that...
You've had some pretty bad turns where you do,
Luckily.
like, nothing.
Yeah. Because
Thank you.
I gamble. You're welcome. Well, that was the thing, wasn't it? The last session where it was, like, there was, like, 3 straight turns where out of my 5 shots, I hit once.
Basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
But
yeah.
and then like there's sessions that we have that you have to miss for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And then it's just like something terrible always happens to your character.
Yeah. Every time. Dude, every time I show up because I missed one because I was on call and I stayed into the ER.
Or we'll just be like in a bar and we'll be like, well, he'll pay for this. Like,
is that where all my gold has been going?
And then we're like, well,
he's bullshitting you.
Because I totally hoard the fuck out of my gold.
No, like, the only time that we've actually taken gold off of your character sheet when you weren't there was to buy you something that's like, okay, this is something that you're gonna like.
yeah, which is like, I don't know, straw or something.
But that's the thing. Like, I love CRPGs. I love the Baldur's Gate games, and I'm getting into Planescape Torment, and I want to play Neverwinter Nights, and obviously Pillars of Eternity is probably my favorite game ever made. But it's so tough because the dialogue, the investment, the like mental imagery of D&D, you can't replicate it, even if it's the same rules. Like, I got we were talking about it months ago, about how I wanted to put our D&D party in Pillars of Eternity, and I did. I downloaded this like mod that makes you straight up customize characters and give like mixed classes together.
Yep.
So my guy was like a combination of a cipher and a mage and a fighter and stuff like that, because he has like the Eldritch. There's no Eldritch Knight in PoE,
right.
But you know, and I made us all like scaled up to level 6 or 5, wherever we were at that point. And I was like, this is so fun, but it's not the same thing.
Yes,
Like,
that's definitely something that, like, I feel like D&D has this weird, or it had at least, it had some sort of weird, it was just kind of like looked at as a nerdy thing, right?
Well,
for a long time. And it still kind of does, I would imagine. But, like, I think within the last even 5-10 years, it's become more mainstream.
Yep.
Wait.
Successive 5th edition.
Yep.
Live streams. Mainly Critical Role.
I was just going to say that. I was just going to say Critical Role.
Like, I don't know if you guys saw, but within, I think it was like 2 days ago, Amazon leaked the next official Dungeons and Dragons book that they're releasing. And it is a crossover with Critical Role.
Oh,
so
that's
like
sick.
the entire, it's like the Wildmount, like exploration guide or something like that, which is where all of their campaign 2 story is taking place.
Yeah.
It's adding 3 new subclasses, like 1 for fighter, I think 1 for wizard, and 1 for another class. Adding a whole bunch of different magic items, 23 new enemies. It's adding basically an entire school of magic, almost, based around Dunamancy, which is like Matt Mercer's own sort of
Runemancy?
Dunamancy, which has to do with manipulating space and time.
Duolingo. You just summon an owl and it speaks foreign languages and makes people's eyes bleed.
Well, Caleb kind of does that. Caleb kind of does that in a way.
Well,
because
like,
he has Find Familiar, right? That's what he uses for.
He's allowed to have Find Familiar, but I'm not allowed to.
Well, Matt Mercer's a pretty.
Okay, so one, this is my first time running a Dungeons and Dragons game. Like, one thing that I love about low level play is like the characters that end up getting crazy abilities that make it impossible to play like a mystery or you know, like something that's not standard just dungeon crawling. Into the game, they don't have those abilities yet. But as soon as you get like a 5th level cleric or a 5th level wizard, it's like suddenly those options are off the table. Or you have to be so like prepared for it.
Right. Just because the sheer amount of abilities, possibilities, I guess I could say is
Possibilities.
Yeah. Well,
Or you just need to like create things that forces the players to have to metagame in order to solve it.
Yeah.
And then don't allow them to metagame while they're playing.
yeah, it's difficult.
And that's so hard to like actually orchestrate something like that.
I think, like you said, 5th edition made shit way less complicated.
Yeah.
And it allows for someone who's like fucking like never played before to actually come in and go, oh, well, I can kind of figure this out pretty quick.
Well, that's like you and Katie have never played before this, right?
No.
Yeah.
So like, you know, it was, and I decided to pick a spellcaster, which I figured might be one of the more complicated classes.
Yeah. Like, thankfully you didn't choose druid or
A
cleric.
wizard or something that has to actually deal with materials, components, and things. But I was just talking to you a couple days ago about actually using material components because
Right.
I think just because now I'm more comfortable with the character anyway, so you can
start adding that flavor to it.
right.
But is that when a spell needs like
Like it needs.
you need to like use a piece of string or something?
Yes. So like I have a couple that are like
a spider web.
pinch of dust in water or something. So I'm like, okay, I'll just buy dust and use the fucking canteen that I have there. And I just to make it
Just to add some flavor
Yeah.
text, just to add some italics, you know.
right.
Yeah, because sometimes like, you can just be like, I'm gonna cast this, and it's just like, okay, you cast that. But like when you actually describe it, it's just like suddenly everyone's invested in what you're doing.
It's a little more visual too. Like it's a little more. I don't know. You get a better idea of what's going on, and that's one thing I really like about D&D though. Is it's not what's going on in your head might not be the same thing that's going on in everyone else's head.
Right.
But like you're still getting the same general feel. It's the same thing with like reading a book though, because like when you read a book and then you watch like the movie of it, you're like, wait a minute, this isn't what I was seeing.
Yep.
Like it's kind of the same idea though, because each person has an interpretation of what's actually going on,
I don't even know
or
what a book
visualization.
is. You mean a Kindle?
You mean an audiobook?
Yeah.
You mean a podcast?
Go to Audible.
I mostly do audiobooks, but
Audible.com/clearshots to get 100% off your
That's not a real
membership.
thing. I mean, you can.
If you go to audible.com/clearshots,
if it works, let us know. I mean,
yeah, you will be surprised. You won't get shit. It's just Mindcomp for free.
welcome to the official
you get
website.
put onto a list.
Yeah. Welcome to the official Nazi website.
You know, speaking of that Hitler guy,
Hey, this Hitler fella,
he's kind of a real jerk, you know? Wait.
Have either of you guys watched The Witcher yet?
Nope.
I watched like
Refuse
3
to.
episodes.
I refuse to.
It's really good.
Nope, won't do it.
You should watch it.
Nope.
It's really good.
Fucking nope. I don't know why.
Why?
Because you guys
Watch it.
tell me to watch it. So
I haven't told you to watch
Yeah,
it.
we did.
Well,
tell you.
you just did.
I just asked if you had.
I want to watch it eventually. My big thing with any media that requires dedication is I don't want to dedicate any dedication to it.
I don't think the episodes are that long, are they?
Well, it's like
They're each an hour.
like
Are they? I thought they
Yeah.
were like 45 or 50.
It varies. There's some that are a full hour, some are like 40 something.
It is really good though, and it takes place before like Witcher 3. Like it's way before.
Yeah, it actually follows the books,
Yeah.
and it actually did a really good job of following the first 2 books.
See, I don't know. I haven't read the book, so I'm actually like interested.
you read the books.
I've read all the books.
Yeah, so I'm like interested in seeing what.
I want to do
happens.
that. I won't play the fucking games because I think they're trash. But I want to read the books.
Yeah. I mean,
But-
the accolades would disagree with you, but
Yeah, well, you know what? I don't care.
Like
really
I
don't.
agreed that the first 2 games weren't great, but the third one
I didn't play the second one. I got it for free with 3 or something when I bought it. I think, but I haven't really played it.
Who were
Not
we
gonna
talking
bother.
to? Weren't we talking to somebody about The Witcher again recently? Who do we have on?
Well, it's
before
definitely
Dom?
it's had like it's blown up a little bit more.
Yeah,
and
it
I
was 'cause it
noticed
was
they
on
had
Game
like
Pass.
they had like an article about how many people are
We
playing it
had
again.
somebody on before Dom that mentioned The Witcher. God damn it! Who was on before Dom? It was Terrence, but who was on before Terrence? Who the fuck were we talking about?
Polly?
Paulie? It must have been Paul.
I think Paul was
Because we were talking about how right when the show came out, they put The Witcher 3 on Game Pass the same day.
It's a good move. Do you know GTA 5 is on Game Pass now?
Yeah,
They have fucking everything on there. Like, what is
Yeah.
going on?
Microsoft is finally doing the right thing and just using their money.
It's crazy.
To
It's like 15
try to
bucks.
get their audience back.
Yeah. And I think it's working because I'm literally Microsoft's audience. I play video games because I don't want to do... That's what I want to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's definitely their target audience.
like this is what I'm playing.
Microsoft, for people who don't do things that they don't want to do.
That is their main tagline.
Like snowmobiling. like the 3 games or the 4 games that I'm playing right now, right? So like if I work in the kitchen, I work like 6 to 4 usually. I get home at 4. If I don't work in the ER afterwards, I'm home at 4, settle in at 4:30, 5 o'clock. I don't want to play something like God of War or The Last of Us. I want to play something that will just distract me for a couple hours. So,
It's less invested.
Game Pass is perfect because it's like...
You can hop around between games, too.
Yeah. Like, fuck, the other day I was on Game Pass and I saw they've been on there for forever, but the Banjo-Kazooie games are on there. I was like, fuck it. I have like half a playthrough of Banjo-Kazooie 1.
And you're also like, this costs me nothing. I'm already paying for it, so...
Yep. So I'm like...
I got Game Pass. I can't afford it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I'm literally like, I have Game Pass and the EA Access, and I'm literally playing Madden, UFC, Call of Duty, and GTA 5. And the only one of those games that I had to buy was Call of Duty, and I even got that for a wicked cheap price because I bought it used on Amazon for like $25. Mm-hmm. Which all you have to do is put the disc in and
the
upload
price.
it,
The
or
price of a
download it.
game, like, so what is it? $15 a month. So that's
For
4 months.
for
4
Ultimate.
months of Game Pass for the price of like a new game.
Yeah.
And some
And
of
that's
the
if
games
you don't take advantage of the coupons they do.
And
'Cause
some of the games are fucking brand new games. Like Gears 5 when it came out was immediately
The
on
Outer
Game Pass.
Worlds was on there immediately.
Yeah.
And I set my clock on my Xbox to New Zealand time, and I played The Outer Worlds like 12 hours ahead of time.
And you beat it before it came out in America.
Basically, yeah.
the hack,
And then all of my friends that have played it, like especially Wes, is like, well, you didn't do everything. It's like,
it
dude,
short?
I got like, yeah, it's super fucking short, and nobody believes me. It's
No, it is.
it's super short, and it's like I got all the achievements that I needed. And he's like, well, did you do all the side quests? It's like, I did all the ones that mattered. Like, you know, I'm not going to go find fucking pigeon feathers for some fuck in a dumpster.
That's what I've been doing. That's what I've been doing in Spider-Man,
Like,
actually.
but,
Because
like,
Spider-Man is long. Like, the main story's pretty long, but, like, there's so many of those side things. Like,
hate
Arkham
that collectible
games
shit.
did that,
I
too,
hate
though.
that collectible
I hated the Arkham
Yeah,
ones.
but they did like the Riddler trophies and shit that took so long to get because you didn't only just
like,
go to
okay,
those spots.
so-
you had to figure out like a puzzle and shit
Yep.
too.
Legitimately, the last one, Arkham Knight,
With
there's
the
like
Batmobile.
220 some of them.
Yeah, I didn't do all
And
of
it's
those.
just like, if you don't get all of them, you don't get the true ending.
Oh, really?
Wait, what?
Yep. So you gotta find all 200 some Riddler trophies in order to get the true ending.
Oh, I never got the true ending.
Oh, that's dumb.
Yep.
I got the
that's
fake
dumb.
ending.
That is, like, I'm not gonna, like, force myself to not have fun for another 30 hours to get the true ending to your game. I'm just gonna watch it on YouTube.
Yeah,
Right.
Most people are.
Frig off.
Like,
The
that's...
the thing is, the people that really enjoy the game are going to do it. Like I did it in Assassin's Creed 2. Like I got
I
everything.
enjoyed the game, but as soon as it gets to be, oh, I'm just collecting these Riddler trophies, I'm not enjoying the game anymore.
See, the thing is with Spider-Man,
If you make it enjoyable,
yeah,
then
there's
fine.
There's random events.
You know
like,
what's enjoyable? I didn't mean to cut you
well,
off,
yeah.
but I'm cutting you off.
Okay, cut me off then.
You know what games do it right? And it's only because we're both totally biased, but the Final Fantasy games, that 12 and 15 specifically, with the bounties. It's enjoyable to go out and
Yeah.
get these bounties and learn how to fight these monsters.
Yeah, because they're still a challenge.
Exactly. But going over and picking up something that's glowing is not fun. It's just...
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, like, I went to every single question mark on the map in Witcher 3.
Yeah, me too. They're all pretty much the same thing, though, right?
Yeah.
It's like you fight a little group of people.
But it's like, something about that was still satisfying.
I
Even
kind
if
of
it
enjoyed
wasn't, like...
Well, what they did well was that they had dialogue in every single one of those.
Pretty
so you
much.
could talk to those people and, like, you know, there were all
There's
sort of
something
settlements
more
and
to
things
it
like that.
than just I just got to throw my batarang at a very particular angle.
I feel like now I need to play through The Witcher 3 again to see if I like it.
Well, you're gonna just
You're not gonna like it.
you're just gonna do the same thing again.
The story's great, but you have to be invested in.
There's a lot of dialogue. You have to be
combat.
invested in what's
the-
happening.
No, just have to be invested in the story.
All of it. Yeah.
The combat is gonna feel exactly like an Assassin's Creed or a Batman
Can't do it.
because it's just super floaty, high speed. Swing your weapons around. If you're playing at higher difficulties or whatever, then you're like, oh, I gotta study what kind of creature it is that I'm going after.
Yeah, and
then
be like, I have to
know
use this oil for whatever.
this weapon oil. I take this potion so I can see in the dark.
And actually, if you rest, it restores all your potions or your oils and shit too. And I didn't know that until wicked late into the game.
It does that in the higher levels?
Yeah, I'm
Or
pretty
higher
sure.
difficulties?
I don't know if it does it in higher difficulties. I played it
think
on
it
like
does.
whatever
What was
the.
that game with Savior Schnapps? Kingdom Come Deliverance is the other one. I love it. I keep trying to get into it, but as soon as I hit a wall, I can't. It just gets.
I don't know about that one at all.
It gets very. It gets very grueling.
But the game that I want to go back to is Kingdoms of Amalur. So this game.
Shout out to Kurt Schilling.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
What happened with Kurt Schilling?
He made a video game company in Rhode Island. Convinced the state government of Rhode Island to give him a bunch of money to start this company there.
Good for him.
He produced this video game and then worked on making an MMO version of it. So basically they already have this world that's half built to be an MMO.
Didn't he hire a bunch of fantasy writers?
He hired
heard
R.A.
of this.
Salvatore, the guy who wrote the Legend of Drizzt novels, which is some of the biggest novels in the Forgotten Realms Dungeons and Dragons lore. And
Now we're not talking about the pitcher, right?
No, we are
No,
talking
we
about
are.
We are talking about the pitcher.
Yeah, for
Yep.
real.
Oh my god!
You didn't know
That's
this?
the wildest
Yep.
shit ever.
and he fucking
Wait,
just,
so he developed a game, like a full blown game?
he didn't develop it. He just owned the company.
Okay.
And he convinced people to give him a shit ton of money, and then he blew it all super hard. And then
I've never heard of this.
the company went bankrupt, and to this day I still believe he owes a shit ton of money to Rhode Island.
Yeah, he's
Really?
completely bankrupt. Yeah,
Well,
dude,
he's a
and the
six-time
game,
All-Star,
the thing,
dude.
Yep.
He's a four-time
Yep, and he's a massive
player of the
asshole.
year.
he's a piece
Didn't
of
he
shit.
win a world? He's won a World Series.
yeah,
Couple World Series.
unfortunately, but the game is wicked good.
Yeah.
I didn't know
It's so
anything
good.
about this.
It's a combination of I don't even know. It's the combat is hack and slash, like Darksiders or God of War, but the world is huge.
Yeah,
and there's
because
tons
it
of
was
shit.
originally meant to be an MMO.
Yeah,
That they're just well, we need to put out a game to make money. Because
Man,
we're
I'll tell you
losing so
what.
much money on it.
If you can pitch, you can make games, dude. You know. That's all I'm saying.
But so one of the things that I heard recently was a rumor that the
Did you want one?
PlayStation 5 is going to be backwards compatible.
Are they free?
Just don't take the black cherries.
So if that's the case,
Or the mango one.
I'm
Ooh,
going
you
to start
can have
playing
this
Kingdoms of Amalur again because I have it for the PlayStation 3.
Yeah,
Yeah. The 5 is. They said the 5 is supposed to be back compatible.
They haven't officially said it, but there's been a whole bunch of things that have said that.
It has to.
I hope so.
It has to.
I certainly hope so, because otherwise I'm going to really probably
You have
not
to,
buy
though.
a PlayStation 5 at that point.
I mean, you
As
I don't
much
see
as I
any
love
other-
PlayStation exclusives,
I don't see any other option, honestly.
it needs it.
I think it's primarily because Xbox decided to do it,
Yeah.
and now you got that. They have that leverage.
Yep.
I think Sony would be smart to come out with a pass type situation too.
Yeah.
subscription service.
Like
But-
they kind of have one. They
Yeah,
have
PS Now.
PlayStation Now, but every game doesn't download to your device. It
this is
streams
really
from
good.
an online server.
Is it really?
It's not bad, yeah.
And like, I guess like maybe the technology's there now because like Google Stadia is trying to do that. But I think that's a shit show.
Thing about Stadia is it's a very specific audience. Like you have to basically have super ridiculous internet to have it be consistent and actually playable.
And you also have to not already have a console.
Yes, but and what also is fucking weird to me is that it's kind of designed for people who travel. But if you're traveling, you're not gonna have consistent good internet.
No, it's a mess.
So I think they've done it. It's too early, is what it really is. Like if as soon as like the infrastructure has a good, solid internet connection everywhere.
Yep.
But are you?
We
What
were
are you gonna
talking
do? What
about
are you
a
gonna
thing-
stream it over 5G?
We were talking about it. We were talking about it with Dom, where the population for Destiny 2, which was a launch title for Google Stadia or whatever, dropped to below 50% in just a month.
What did? Oh, the player.
Population.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably because.
Well, it's like
it
I
went-
remember watching someone play testing Destiny on it. And what they did was they recorded themselves jumping twice, and in like this maybe
I
like
think I
10
saw
second
this.
clip, and it was just like the first time perfect, second time they press the button, it waits like 3 seconds, and then they jumped, and it's just like
Yeah.
Yep.
You can't have that. It's very. Destiny is an always online game too.
yep.
So it's demanding. Also, like after that game went free to play, it changed the way a lot of the shit works. So like a bounty system is different and shit now. So like the old hardcore players, I haven't played it in a couple weeks, and
I haven't played it in a year.
but I mean I used to play it like every day. So
That's true.
like I don't know.
I haven't played it since the Taken King or whatever.
That
in
was the
Destiny
first
1.
Destiny. Yeah.
What was the one for this one? Shadowheart.
Shadowkeep's a new one.
Okay.
That would have been like a couple months ago.
September. I played it over the summer
Forsaken?
for a while. The Forsaken King.
Forsaken, yeah, was the.
That's when I stopped playing because all I wanted was the bow and arrow. But you told me I had to buy the DLC for it, so I said no, and I uninstalled.
Yeah, I don't think you do now. I think it's all free to play and
Well-
has the bows.
Too late because fucking for some reason COD Modern Warfare 2019 is like 180 gigabytes.
Oh, that's a bad move.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I'm
The
not,
textures
I'm
are-
not gonna get it. I don't know. I thought about it for a while, and then I was like, well, it's gonna just be a Call of Duty game again. Like,
No, it's really good, man.
It's gonna be a whole new thing.
I love it, dude. Okay, the fact that Wes and I have been playing it, both of us have been playing it since launch, should speak dividends, right? Because usually,
anytime that I try to play something that Wes is playing, he's on to the next thing.
no. Here's the thing: is I'm gonna not buy it so that you guys can keep playing it. Because as soon as I do, Wes is gonna stop playing it.
well, I'll keep playing it.
I'm doing it out of the kindness of my heart, you know.
I love it. I really do. It's just like because it goes. Maybe it's just because I missed shit like Halo 3, where it's just like you hop on for like an hour or two a night with your buddies and
Just
fuck
multiplayer
around.
shooter, yeah.
Yeah, just fuck around and then you hop on.
I just play Halo. You know.
Right.
I finished Reach on Legendary and
Jesus.
didn't break my controller.
Somehow.
Didn't do it.
What's that broken controller over there from?
Where?
That one. That one right
I
there.
don't see a broken controller, but there might be one. That's probably from Halo 1.
The library.
If there's nades on map, you're gonna die.
Yeah. Halo 1 is the most bullshit fucking thing. The only way I can beat that is with like the skull that gives you unlimited grenades.
Well, yeah.
Because then there's always nades on map.
Yeah.
Yep. But then you kill yourself and have to restart.
Yeah. It's such a fucking hard game. Mostly because the weapons like are not really built for
Where'd that seed go?
legendary.
You lost it.
It's in the void.
There's gonna be seeds all over the place, dude. Swear to God.
God damn it. That was a good one, too. Oh, there it is.
That was a good one. They're sunflower seeds, so they're pretty much all the same. Yeah.
You know what's crazy is
Not all sunflower seeds are created equal, I guess, is what you're trying to say.
You know what game I quit completely?
Which?
Witcher 3.
No, I haven't been playing NBA at all, which is weird.
At all.
At all. Well, usually whenever a sports season is in session, I play the game along with it.
Right.
So, like, normally when the NFL playoffs roll in, I start
So
playing
you play
more
the
NBA.
show when baseball season starts?
No, I don't. I
So
play.
you buy a PS4
I play
for the-
Super Mega Baseball instead because I'm a gentleman.
I play a more arcadey,
Excuse me,
Cartoony.
a more fun baseball game.
arguable.
Not at all,
You don't have the show, though. How can you compare it?
because Super Mega Baseball is $11.99, and the show plus
It's like
the PS4
$400.
is like $400. So it's more fun for me.
It does seem more fun, actually, now that I think about it. Although, I'm actually glad I got a PS4. I got it for that game, and then I got to play, like, Horizon Zero Dawn and fucking God of War. Primarily from
Do you
your
still have
games.
my copy of God of War?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you can take it if you want. I haven't touched
All
it.
right.
I didn't kill the Valkyries, but I'm like, that's going to be hard as fuck, so.
Yeah, they were.
And do I need to? So.
You got to get that platinum trophy, dude.
Do I need it, though? I don't need it. And then I bought, what else is next? Oh, I bought The Last of Us Remastered because I'd never played that.
Yep.
Have you played it yet?
Yeah, it's really
you beat
good. No.
Have you played Bloodborne?
I have played, I own Bloodborne, but haven't gotten
hates
past,
it.
like, any of it.
Dude, it's so upsetting.
It's so good.
It's probably my favorite game.
It's not.
That's probably legitimately one of my favorite games.
Yeah, it's at least top 5 for me.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Like, I started getting, like, into it. I'm like, okay, I'm getting kind of far now. And then I was like, wait, why am I playing this? I was like, why am I playing Bloodborne?
I still remember when we were playing, because it was right when you.
Why am I playing this great game?
Yeah, because
I don't get
you
it.
had just beaten New Game Plus, and I was just getting ready to start New Game Plus, and I remember we went through and we went from like the beginning of the game to like basically
Probably
ROM.
halfway.
I think we got all the way to ROM
That's Bloodborne,
Yeah,
in like
baby.
one sitting.
All you gotta do is take the shortcuts, you know?
There's no shortcuts.
No,
What? Can you fly in that game? I thought you could fly.
Nope.
there's nothing will be like for me for Bloodborne. Nothing was better than just when you start the game off and you find like as far as like for you and I being Dark Souls players, starting the game off and realizing we are not in Kansas anymore.
Yeah.
Like
Well, you're never in Kansas. I
Well,
don't think,
like-
in any of them.
So
Did any of them take place in Kansas? Any of the Souls games?
so like
hilarious.
you're playing like all of the Dark Souls games, and like the first thing that it teaches you to do basically is here's how you use your shield.
Right.
Here's how you block attacks. Yada yada
Here's how
yada.
you
And it's just
parry
like so you become reliant in those games on using a shield
Defense.
in order to get through the game. And then
And Bloodborne doesn't have it.
comes out.
Right.
The only shield that you get in Bloodborne legitimately says that it's a piece of shit. Like, it outright says that this thing will maybe, like, keep you alive for one hit, but that's
gonna
about
die.
it. You might as well just dodge it.
isn't it literally just called like wooden plank?
Yeah,
It's plank from Ed, Ed and Eddie.
yeah.
That's cool, though. I'd
So
carry
like
it around.
having to learn how to dodge, and then once you get it down, like nothing is more.
Well, it's
Like,
not...
learning how to dodge, learning how to do the gun parry. And then it's just like, I went into Dark Souls 3 after that. I didn't use a shield at all.
No.
Or if I did use a shield, it was just like the one that gives me stamina regen, and I just put it on my back and then just like double hand my weapon.
What's the?
Yeah, but to me, it's like I feel so much like of the game is based on figuring out the way the enemy is moving.
yeah,
And that's the entire game to me.
Yep.
pretty much.
And that doesn't appeal to me, I guess.
Well, I think the most fun part for me was unlocking all the weapons and then figuring out how each one worked, and then each one kind of chains into the next one if you have them like both equipped.
Yeah. Well, I didn't get whatever weapon you start with. Can't you open it up or something like that? And it's different?
So
it's a trick weapon.
Yeah. There's 3 weapons that you can start with. There's the
axe,
the cleaver,
and the cane,
the saw cleaver, which that one can extend, and like you can do a combo where like you make an attack with it,
Then
flick it open,
Yeah.
and it deals a ton of damage. And then you have reach as they were like knocked back by the opening of it. And then there's the threaded cane,
That's my favorite weapon.
which goes from just like a lightweight, like quick short sword to like a whip. That one's badass.
I can't remember.
I can't remember what the other one was,
Hunter
but it was
axe,
like okay, yeah. So
which spin to win.
yeah, what that one was kind of more standard, like Dark Souls fare, but
Yeah, it's like it's like a one-handed battle axe, or it turns into a two-handed like battle axe. But
I feel like
the
I took
fucking-
the cane, right? I don't remember.
the
It looks like it's kind of. Does it a blade? I don't fucking remember.
it
God
looks
damn
like a cane, and then when you hit it, it looks like a whip, and then when you hit it back, it goes back to a cane.
yep.
Oh.
But like when you get the Old Hunters DLC, because you convinced me to buy that, and I got it, and you get the fucking whirligig
That's
saw.
the best one. That's the best DLC.
Like, dude, like my favorite thing, especially because in Dark Souls, you can pretty much, like, all the weapons are kind of, there's like, 5 different short swords and 5 different long swords and 5 different great swords that are pretty much similar. Yep. But in Bloodborne, there's only 20 weapons, but they're all different, and each weapon is also 2 weapons in one.
Yep.
And you have to find them all. You can't just, you could probably outright buy, like...
Except for, like, pretty much the best weapon, the Tonitrus.
Yeah.
That one just stays the one weapon with
it just turns
electricity.
On. Yeah. But just, I don't know, figuring out
Is
how
this
to
the
use all
game
the
that
weapons.
Kurt Schilling developed?
No.
No, you're
Oh,
thinking
wow.
of The Witcher 3, Wild Gunt.
Wild cunt.
I don't know. Like, every time I talk about Bloodborne, it literally makes me want to pull money out of my savings and get a PS4 just to play Bloodborne
I
again.
still can't believe that we're talking about the baseball pitcher Kurt Schilling. I was
Yeah,
like,
no,
this guy has
dude, that was a
same
huge-
name as a baseball pitcher.
That was a huge thing on the
I'd
news.
never heard that.
He's straight up like embezzled money from the government. Like, it
That's a good move.
was pretty sick.
I mean, if it worked out,
But it didn't work.
He's in the
out.
Hall of Fame, isn't he?
Shouldn't be. But you know what else I was thinking about? You know what I wanted to do for Christmas and I didn't do it? I wanted to get a PS3 and NCAA football 2014 just so I could play college football again.
Yeah.
But apparently...
Dude, just play the fucking...
Just play the
Play
fucking...
Madden 20 when you get to play 2 games in college
Yeah, right?
as like 8 different teams.
Apparently NCAA football games are coming back.
That's what I heard. They should just put them in Madden. Dude, when I play the show, I'm like, what the fuck? How do they have all these teams? Because they have all the major league teams and then all the minor league teams and shit like that. Mm-hmm. So they have all those teams, but Madden can only do their NFL teams. Like, I would imagine they could get the license for NCAA games, and
They have to pay the players.
they should pay the players.
I don't think they should.
I think
But
they should. They're on fucking TV.
they get free. They get free college tuition.
Yeah, but they get on TV, They're also playing.
They should pay the players, but don't pay their tuition.
Yes.
Yeah,
That actually would work out, probably.
works for me.
And they
No,
actually
the
have to
MLB
pass
has-
their classes.
The MLB has minor league teams because the minor league teams are owned by the MLB.
They're affiliated with it, yeah.
Just like with the NHL games. But EA Sports also pays for the merchandising or the rights for all the other teams, like in Europe. And
Yeah.
soccer is where it gets weird. I know none of us watch soccer, but I used to play FIFA and stuff.
Sure. Do they have the league thing, like different leagues?
Certain teams have a license with Konami, who makes Pro Evolution Soccer.
Yep.
That's the Pepsi to EA Sports' FIFA. So it's really funny if you're playing FIFA.
Wait.
It's the Pepsi to EA Sports is Coke. I'm sorry.
Pepsi. I was gonna say, well, one's a soda. Like, why are we bringing Pepsi into that?
Apples to oranges.
Yeah, you have Coke and Pepsi. You have FIFA and Pro Evolution Soccer.
Pez, like
Yeah.
Pez dispensers.
And Pro Evolution
Pez
Soccer has
dispensers.
they have like only like 9 or 10 teams, but they're all huge teams like Real Madrid and Juventus and Paris, whatever Paris is.
Well, how did Super Mega Baseball get the licenses for the platypi, and
the crocodons,
yeah, and the what's the steak one? What's the steak
sirloins?
One? The sirloins. How did they get those licenses?
They created them arbitrarily. But no, it's really funny because
You would be surprised how much money they had to fork over.
Yeah, for the sirloins.
well, it's just funny.
A good sirloin is at least like
26.
Yeah,
yeah.
if we're talking
Pretty
like
good for 26.
yeah, if we're talking like an 8-ounce sirloin.
But no, it's crazy because every year the licenses run up, and it's funny when you see Konami and EA because Konami, I mean, they don't make video games much anymore, but they are worth millions of dollars because they own all the casinos and pachinko machines in Japan.
Machines.
And they're making way more money making pachinko machines than they were making video games. So they finally went out and they purchased the licenses for like 3 of the top 5 soccer teams in the world.
Yep.
And then the player base just shifted. And they're still making money.
Mm-hmm.
And in my opinion, Pro Evolution Soccer is better than FIFA anyway because it's a lot more realistic. It's also not EA.
Yeah, that's always a plus.
Yeah, but I don't like Konami either.
No, I don't like Konami either.
There's no winning.
No. So I don't play soccer
Can't win
games.
these days.
Yeah.
Well, it's like I miss when they used to do when 2K was one of the good guys, but now 2K is the worst out of everybody. With the WWE 2K controversy, and then NBA 2K.
I miss THQ. THQ was
HQ's making a comeback.
They gotta.
Apparently, they're doing another Saints Row reboot. That's what I read. Which I would personally love because I love the Saints
give
Row
me
games.
SmackDown Here Comes the Pain remastered.
Like so a roster from 2003.
Yeah, dude.
Yep.
2003. That's the best roster. It's got Undertaker. It's got Brock Lesnar. It's got Cena. That was right when Cena was coming in. I mean, it's got everybody, dude. The Rock, Austin. The early 2000s, bro. That was the prime time.
Who knows anymore?
Yeah, what are you gonna do? Well, you don't have Roman Reigns, but just create him.
I was thinking about Time Splitters yesterday.
Yeah.
And GoldenEye. I watched this whole documentary about free radical games. How
Who published Time Splitter stuff?
Kurt Schilling.
Eidos,
Oh yeah.
which they got absorbed.
They're owned by Squeenix.
Yes,
989.
because they do all 989 studios. No, yeah, Eidos is part of Squeenix now because Squeenix and them do the Hitman games, which
Yep. And the Deus Ex games.
Yep.
Do you remember the game Black?
Yeah, dude, are you kidding? I have that installed.
The game was fucking
That
cool.
game's wicked good. Remember the sequel they made a few years ago?
No.
Nobody does.
Dude, it was the first time I saw destructible environments in games.
Yeah.
And the first mission, you aim a rocket launcher at like a bell tower or some shit, and it blows up the whole fucking thing. And I was like, this game's ridiculous. How does
I think Red Faction was actually the first game to bring in destructible
that was
environments.
all about fucking destructible environment. I remember playing Red Faction Guerrilla, and all I did was run around and blow up buildings because that's the only thing you do. I didn't even know if there was a story or like because I didn't pay attention to that. You just blow stuff up.
It's like Just Cause.
Yeah, you just blow things up just cause. Isn't 4 on Game Pass?
3 and 4 are, which is stupid because the only good one's the second one.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
But
I mean,
they're all
you're
the same.
still just going to do the same thing in each one.
pretty much, yeah. No, I missed the Killzone games, dude. I loved Killzone 1 and 2 like a lot. Well, Killzone 2 more so.
Mm-hmm.
But
I never played them really because I didn't have PS3.
They were if Killzone was on Xbox instead of PlayStation, it'd be huge. But they didn't have the more people played Xbox 360 than PS3.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, Plus, they were stupid and marketed as the Halo killer. It's like, no, you weren't. You weren't even
I thought
really
they
the
did
same
that.
game.
Well, didn't they do that with Resistance too? They were trying to do like as a Halo,
Haze was
like
the
a
big
response.
Remember that game? That was the downfall of Free Radical. That's why they went bankrupt.
Yep.
But Resistance was a wicked cool game because it was just different. It was like an alternate reality. I would play the first one again because that was the first game that I got for the PS3.
Just
I
get
got
PS Now, dude.
I don't have one.
It's probably on,
I
it's
got
probably on there.
my PS3 came with Resistance and Madden 07, the one with Sean Alexander on the cover. But Resistance was just so cool.
Yep.
I don't think I had Madden 07. I think I had 08. 08 had Favre on the cover, right?
No, 09 had Favre. 08 had Vince Young.
Oh yeah, that's right.
010 had Palomalu and Fitzgerald.
Yeah.
11 had Breeze. 12 had Peyton Hillis. 13.
I like how it went from
13
010 to just 11.
Did 13 have Gronkowski or was it 14? Or 16?
There wasn't a 14. It was 25. 25 had
was-
Richard Sherman on the cover.
No, 25 had Adrian Peterson, right?
Yeah. 13 had Richard Sherman on the cover. No, it didn't. I'm trying to think.
Think about what other things came out at the time and you'll remember.
Yeah.
Kingdoms of Avalor came out in 2012.
What are they gonna do when they hit
Madden 12 had Kurt Schilling on the cover in arbitration with Rhode Island Supreme Court.
What are they gonna do when they hit Madden 25 though?
They're probably going to call it 2025. Duh.
So then they'd have to go back and go Madden 26, Madden 20, or Madden 2026. 2000. Why did they ever stop doing that in the first place? Just call it the year. I never understood that.
So, which number Madden game would that be when they get to 2025? Would it be like 40?
It'd be the 35th one.
Well, the thing is,
So they might just do
Or
35.
I don't even know.
the thing is, the
It'd be
Madden
like
game.
38. I don't know.
Yeah, because like Madden 20 isn't the 20th Madden game.
They should just do Roman numerals like they do with the Super Bowl.
Yeah, should.
Who
Or
was on
just
the
put
cover of
fucking year on
19?
it.
Brady?
XXV.
18 was that one guy. I know one of them had
Brady
multiple
was.
covers because I had one. I think 13 was Richard Sherman.
No, 19 was Antonio Brown, or is it?
Oh,
yeah,
it is Antonio Brown. 18 was Brady.
Yeah.
17
Or was it
was
Gronkowski?
Gronk.
Isn't Brown gone now?
Yeah, Mr. Big Chest.
Someone will sign him. I would
Yeah,
imagine.
I hope it's the Raiders again.
I hope he goes to the XFL.
Dallas. Dude, if he goes to the XFL, that'll be some shit because he would literally
That would be huge.
Oh my god, that'd be fucking retarded if he went to the XFL.
They should put Roman Reigns in as linebacker, you know? Like
Hey, Luke Kuechly's available.
I don't know why they didn't just take WWE superstars and put them all in there.
I thought that was the plan.
Yeah, Braun Strowman would be like the toughest tight end ever because if he could catch the ball, you just run everybody over. He's like fucking 800 pounds. Got to get the Big Show in there, you know?
I think my favorite Madden was 11 because that one had the playoff mode and that one was cool.
Yeah, but
Where,
we're past that. I thought we were talking about WWE guys playing football.
I don't know any WWE guys. Yeah, Ronda Rousey, Cain Velasquez,
Yeah. Yeah, what is he doing now? Is he
Joe Rogan,
Oh yeah, is Velasquez actually in WWE now?
Owen Hart.
Joe Bruiser. Ultimo Dragon.
The unknown.
Eugene.
Paul so we had this game. Well, I still have it. It's not up here right now. WCW versus NWO World Tour, and it had a shit ton of people on it. I think we talked about with Dave one time because he was talking about Joe Bruiser.
Yeah.
And there was a character in it called The Unknown, and Paul used to only use him. And the only move he would do is the one where you spread the legs and then hit them with your you headbutt their nuts. And every time he did it, he'd go, The Unknown. And he'd do it every time. It was the only move he used.
So good. The unknown.
It was the best move in the game, though.
It really was.
Yeah, it's a good move. It's a good game. It really is.
Oh,
Okay, all right.
Have you finished Pokemon?
No,
It's really bad.
I haven't finished it because
It's really fucking bad.
I don't feel like I haven't played it in a while. But I guess I probably would have finished it by now if I cared enough.
Yeah,
you know?
you would have. Because the
it
whole
short?
game is 30 hours.
I've gotten more
And
than
now they're
half.
selling DLC for $30.
Oh shit!
Well, not yet, but it's going to come out.
I've got more than half of the badges already. I think if they would have just let you have the Pokemon Bank, it would have been sweet.
Maybe. But it's like, okay, so there's this overarching story of all this bad shit that's going on in the world or whatever.
Yeah, they're always.
And the champion's just going around and like trying to solve it or investigate it. And like none of it's ever explained to you. You just go on and continue getting those badges. There's no equivalent of Team Rocket in the entire series.
There's those sneaky guys, right?
There's
Those fellas that you run into every once in a
there's
while.
Team Yell
Yeah.
or whatever, and like legitimately, they're just fans of another person who's doing the same shit that you're doing, just going around collecting badges. And the only purpose that they serve is to just block off
Certain areas.
like a certain area
Like a
until you get
Snorlax.
the
Like the required badges or
yeah,
like
you just
whatever.
get the next badge. It's not like I need to learn cut to get through this.
They haven't
area.
had that in a while either. It's weird. I missed that, like actually having to learn the moves. Or when you finally get Fly. Now you get Fly like 3 hours into the game,
Yep.
if that.
Yeah, so it's just railroaded now,
It's
not
very-
in a way that like makes you think about
Yeah.
anything.
They've definitely made those games simpler and like more accessible, which is not good because they already were pretty easy to get into.
Yeah,
Like kids were already playing
Yep.
Pokemon Blue, you know, like they could get into it. It wasn't hard.
but then like, so anyways, like there's all this shit going on, and the champion's just dealing with it. You get to like where you've collected all 8 of the badges. You're there at the championship. You face off against the number of people leading up to the champion, and then like, so like the champion battle is going to be the next day, and you're like, your rival is the champion's brother, like little brother.
Right.
And so like the 3 of you are like, oh, let's get dinner together
Let's get sushi.
before the the championship. And legitimately like
kills
the
you.
older brother's like only bit of characterization throughout the entire thing, besides like that he has a particular pose that he does all the time,
Yeah.
is
Everybody loves it too.
he gets lost really easily. He has no sense of direction. And so you're like, did he seriously get lost, like, going to this restaurant? We were all walking together. Turns out he's, like, abducted by this one character. You have to face off against, like, all of these sort of, like, thugs to get in, like, a key to this guy's place to, like, find his brother. And then it's like,
just to fight him, to be able to fight him for the championship or whatever, because his brother's the champion, right?
Yeah.
The older guy is.
so like, the chairman, you met the chairman, right?
Yeah.
So, like, he kidnaps the champion. And so, like, you have to fight a whole bunch of people that work for the chairman's company in order to gain access to this tower. And then, like, the champion and the chairman are just having a conversation there. And, like, the chairman's like, I'm gonna do this really terrible thing tomorrow. And the champion's like, I'm busy, I got a championship fight. Let's go get dinner now, guys.
What the fuck?
So he just leaves. You have dinner. The next day, you're in the middle of, like, the championship fight. Bad shit happens. They gotta cancel it. And it's like, what's going on? And it's just like, well, we fucking know the chairman said he was gonna do this stuff.
Yeah.
So then you go deal with that. And then
Weird.
you face the champion.
So basically,
and then the
it seems
game's
like
over.
it basically seems like the game's like on a path. It basically seemed like they just wanted to throw you off the normal ass path that they've had in every game.
Yeah, but like
you would definitely expect, like you would just expect,
but
to fight
it
the
doesn't
champion.
add to the game.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
It actually takes away from it because like
Seems
there
like
was
they're just-
no.
Throwing you off for no reason, really.
There's no side to it. It's just you collect the badges, you face the champion, and then you're deterred for like maybe an hour.
Is there an Elite Four?
No. Nope. So you go back there, and like when you arrive at the championship stadium, you face off against some number of the other gym leaders. And then the other people that are contestants going for it. And there's 4 of them. And, like, the thing is, one of them got, like, disqualified or something. And they're just like... They just show up and they're just like, I want to face you, player character. And everyone's just like, let them! And it's just like...
Where is the organization in this?
There's none. It's so bad. And the fact that they're asking $30 for a DLC for that game.
The DLC is a story DLC, or is it?
I'm guessing.
It's got to be, right? Something. It has to be some sort of storyline.
But it's like...
That's the first time they've ever had DLC, isn't it?
Well, okay. So what they did before was when they wanted to do DLC for it, they came out with yellow version. Or the equivalent
Right,
of such.
so like Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon were basically a DLC version of it.
Right.
But you had to play through the whole game again.
Yep.
And then I did
So it's
really
yeah,
like
it's
Ultra Sun. Or which one did I get? Ultra Moon, I think. Well, no,
don't know.
I bought Sun and then I got Ultra Moon. But like I really liked the time, like whatever the fucking portal was that you could go through. And you could catch a whole bunch of random shit. Like you'd go through this weird portal and it'd take you back in time and you could catch like anything basically, which was kind of cool. It added like a depth to it.
Yeah.
Where you could just go try and collect shit.
But it's like, okay, so yes, maybe DLC isn't a bad idea, but when your game was
Already not
good,
didn't make sense, yeah.
I just don't know who's actually going to buy this.
Yeah, you would think they would do a lot more when they finally can hit us the Switch.
Yeah.
I did like the wild areas, but I felt like they were too small, and they feel like they're just areas.
It's very
with,
samey.
Yeah,
Like-
they just feel like they're areas with shit going, like that you can go around, like a free roam area.
Yeah.
but it's not that big.
Every like I bike for maybe like 10 seconds, I find another berry tree
I
with
shake the
randomized
tree,
berries.
like 3 times, and then that's it.
Yeah. And then you know, there's maybe a couple random items about, but it's like
It did scare the shit out of me the first time I went to the wild area, and there was an onyx that popped up. It was like chasing me around.
yep.
I was like, "Oh my god, it's gonna kill me!" And it did. It did kill me.
And then like you can do those Dynamax battles or whatever, and it's like there wasn't anything exciting about
No,
those.
it's another one of those gimmicky things like they had.
It's
in
like,
the sun.
Okay,
Like, they
so
had
I've
the
got
wristband thing right in the in the Sun and Moon,
yeah.
and I forget what it did. It just turned them into a different form or some shit. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
They do that with all of them though. It seems like.
Yep. But it's like, okay, so you have like maybe so you're limited to your 4 abilities, and that's been every Pokemon game.
Yeah.
And so
I
maybe
think the
you've
mega
got
evolutions are what started that off, right?
yeah. But it's like so maybe you have like 3 different abilities that are all the same like type. Maybe they're all psychic or whatever. And then you've got one that's like dark or something like that.
Yeah.
And then you go into this Dynamax form, suddenly every one of those psychic abilities is exactly the same. They just do a little bit different damage.
Yes, I know what you mean. Yeah, it's only.
But it's like, so
there's like one move for each type, basically,
Yeah.
is how they did it.
it's like, It's just bland.
It lowers the possibilities, basically. Yeah, I thought it was kind of dumb. I thought it was dumb as soon as I saw it.
Right.
I was like, why are they just giving us giant Pokemon? It's not going to... It was a gimmick.
Yep. And then the post game, all it is like...
you get a couple extra places you can go back to or whatever.
So these random people show up with really stupid fucking haircuts. One of them looks like a shield, one of them looks like a sword.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yep. And they're claiming to be royalty, and they're like, we're stealing these items that belong to the legendary Pokemon. And then you chase them around, and they just go to every single one of the gyms, and they Dynamax a Pokemon there that you have to face off. And it's just like, I did the entire post game in 30 minutes.
Right. I liked the spot where you were in the forest with all the mushrooms and shit. That was kind of cool looking. And it was like, you ran into the legendary or whatever there at the
Weld.
end. Yeah. That's cool.
Slumbering Weld.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll finish it, but I'm basically not expecting much from it anyway.
It's just, I don't know. It hurt my childhood to play that game.
Right.
I haven't heard much good about it.
Don't
And
bother.
like what Seth said in the beginning about how it's simplified.
Well,
it was
the thing
already
it was great because it was easy enough to get into, but like if you played a lot, veteran players had strategies. Like there was actually depth to the strategy. Mm-hmm. The balance was perfect the way it was.
No.
Yeah, it seems like as soon as it went to the 3DS with even though we loved X and Y introduced the Mega Evolutions.
Yep.
And pretty much they were like, oh, well, now we can put in a thing in the game that makes it so people don't have to have these strategies to compete online or have to have these strategies to beat the game. Because
X and Y had like the thing where
well, you just get
you could just do like the mini game to like max out their IVs, right?
Yep. Yeah, you just had to play catch with them.
Yep.
Instead of actually breeding and stuff like that. Because I remember as a kid...
That literally takes away all the fun. Like, or they... Well, it kills...
It takes away all the challenge of like
time.
Maxing out creatures for competitive play.
Yeah.
Right. Because I remember as a kid, like... when I was like 5 or 6, I got a Game Boy Color and I got Pokemon Yellow and Red. And then the next year I got Silver. And that would have been when I was in like 1st or 2nd grade. I remember I beat Yellow pretty easily because you start with Pikachu and he's OP on purpose.
Yep.
But I don't remember beating Silver until like I was 10. It was like 3 or 4 years of grinding and playing for, I mean, I wasn't hardcore into it, but playing a solid like couple of hours every week for like 2 to 3 years. And then, because I skipped Diamond and Pearl and Black and White. What were the other ones? Ruby and Sapphire. I skipped all those because I was only playing Silver and Red. I played still.
Emerald. I really liked Emerald actually.
Yep. But I remember being very surprised with X because I ended up sitting down and I beat that over the course of a week. And then I went back and I got an emulator on my computer and I played through Black 2 and White 2. And that, like, Black 2, the first time through, took me probably a month and a half. Like, the difficulty between just that generation and then having the Mega Evolves and then picking... I mean, you start the game and you can pick from the Gen 1 starters and the Gen 6 starters. And then halfway through the game, you can get Mewtwo, or near the end of the game, you can get Mewtwo just by finding them or something. Like, I remember getting Mewtwo before I fought the Elite Four. But the Wonder Trade and the trading system that they had in X and Y is really what simplified it.
Yep.
Because I remember you could type in what you were offering, and then it would pop up with what people, like, were looking for. So I remember getting a Charmander as my Gen 1 starter. I got him all the way to Charizard, and then I was like, all right, well, is there anybody looking for a level 30 Charizard? And all of a sudden, I put him up for bid or whatever, however the system worked.
The global trade system.
The global trade. And it was like, oh, I can trade in this level 30 Charizard that I don't use because somebody wants a Charizard and get like a level 55 Machamp. Okay.
Right.
And then I would, like, the game for me ended up being going online to find all the Pokemon that people were looking for, transferring them over to X through the bank or whatever, and then grinding them up and then swapping them out for Pokemon that I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And then also Garchomp. like,
Guy's broken.
And it just, it was just too easy to get the team that you wanted. Because I remember when I was younger, the fun of Pokemon wasn't beating it. It was getting all the Pokemon you wanted to have in your team.
Yeah.
But now you can just get them whenever because you can trade for them.
Yeah.
And I haven't played Sword and Shield. I haven't played since. I mean, we were talking about it with Paul, I think, how we were playing through, or you had Sun, and I had Ultra Sun, and I got like maybe 6 or 7 hours in, and I was like, this is fucking, I'm not doing this.
I played both of them. I didn't mind them, but the thing was, I had Pokemon Bank from Sun to Ultra Moon, so I would just take all my shit from Pokemon Sun.
Yeah. Like, I took my Pokemon from X and transported them to Ultra Sun, and it was just
It was kind of like a new game.
Cool.
It was like a new game plus in a way.
Yeah, so it's like, all right, so it was cool that I could have, my Garchomp and Blaziken and
this game.
Goodra, but all I had to do was, I had to grind to get like the 4th badge, and now I can use all those Pokemon that are already wicked OP.
Yep.
And just steamroll. Yeah. I don't know. I think I outgrew it because I just don't have. There's no sense of curiosity anymore.
It's all the same.
It's just frustrating. It's frustrating to me to learn who these Pokemon are when I know that I'm not going to go out and catch, Majagadag or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm going to use the same Pokemon I've been using for
which
like
one's
10
Majagadag? I don't know. All I know is that you immediately get Blaziken and then you win. So
yeah. And
one thing that I just read was they've introduced a new creature type into the games. I think maybe they did it in Sun and Moon, or maybe they did it in X and Y. I don't remember, but they added the fairy type.
That was X and Y.
Okay, so they added the fairy type because dragons were too powerful, and there weren't a lot of answers to dragons.
Dragon was the answer to dragon.
Right. But then you just have everyone using dragons and nothing else.
Yeah.
But, so they create this fairy type, and evidently the fairy type is creating so many problems in the card game that the card game is going to remove them from the card game. Fairy type aren't going to exist.
Yeah, I know with the card game, there's only certain ones that are even are allowed for like actual tournament play and shit like that. Anyway.
Well, it's just like with Magic.
Right.
But with Magic, it's like the cards that are banned, you don't have to be a Magic the Gathering player to understand why they're banned.
Yeah.
And with Pokemon, it's like the metagame itself has removed them.
Yeah.
Well, that's how we were talking about it recently, about how we were playing Pokemon X together during guys' night, and I would run a dragon and you would run a fairy because I'd had Garchomp and you'd have Goodra, and we literally won like 50 or 60 matches in a row.
Oh, Goodra's actually a dragon.
Oh, Goodra is a dragon. Yep. So we had 2 dragons.
Yeah.
But we had, it was just bullshit. I don't know. Like,
the fight starts. Goodra makes it rain. Thunder does bonus damage, and also it's twice as likely to hit because it's raining.
And it could cause paralysis. And then I just run dig.
Yep.
I always used to like Tyranitar because of Sandstorm, so it would just always do extra damage after every turn, and he doesn't take damage from the Sandstorm, so it's like you basically just annihilate guys. Even if you don't one hit them, you still kill them in one turn.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like there were a lot of archetypes in like the early games that was like, okay, so Tyranitar is Silver and Gold's version of Dragonite.
Dragonite, yeah.
And like that sort of happened for the first 3 games, and then after that is
Salamence,
like,
right? Salamence might have been one of them, right?
Yeah.
Was
Yeah.
he Gen 3?
Yeah.
Yep.
Where he was like steel and dragon. And then Tyranitar was rock and ground.
Yep.
But he was a...
Or no, is Ground and Dark, I think.
Yeah. But he was just OP as fuck.
Yeah.
I know he definitely had dark moves. Like I had.
I feel like
Crunch or
the
whatever
one
on
that
it.
actually was the equivalent in Gen 3 was Metagross.
Oh,
the,
yeah.
the psychic,
big, like,
Psychic
spider-looking
and
dude.
steel.
psychic
Yeah.
steel. Yep.
Bullshit. Dude.
Yeah.
Guy was
then
bomb.
what Gen 4 had Aggron.
Yeah, that was
Aggron
well.
and
That was
Garchomp.
a.
Well, Aggron was like the equivalent of
Wasn't
like
it-
Rhydon.
Oh, true.
yeah, I think it comes from Rhydon, doesn't it?
No.
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 Oh, it comes from
Well, there's
Aron.
Rhyhorn, Rhydon, Rhyperior.
Yeah, that's right. It comes from Aron or whatever.
Yep. Aron, Lairon, and Aggron.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There definitely were archetypes for
Polly
sure.
has the little mini of Lairon that he was using for a bullet in one of the D&D games he plays.
He
We
was
used him
using
for
it.
Fang for a little bit, too.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Well, I want to do food or object, so. So.
That's the thing that I love about, because I'm gonna get back into Final Fantasy 12 again, because I stopped playing it for a bit. But that's what I love about JRPGs in general, because that seems to me the turn-based aspect is what I liked about Pokemon. But there's so many other games that are turn-based where you can learn how they operate that just seems more rewarding. Like even when it's an American turn-based game like XCOM, like there's just something more satisfactory about outsmarting a computer in kind of like a chess game sort of situation.
Yeah.
That doesn't involve, you know,
I got funny ones.
children. All right, here
boy.
we go.
Oh boy.
I gotta finish this. Is this the Irish whiskey still?
Yeah, that's the it's called two
Gingers.
gingers. Yeah, that's what it's
Two
called.
gingers. So
Yeah,
it's
we've only got one of those.
Yeah.
yeah. We haven't had another redhead person.
Well, my mom's name is Ginger, so she bought it for me for
Oh,
Christmas. So she thought it would make sense.
she thought it was funny. Your mom's a peach.
So I have
Maroon.
sour cream versus Heaven's Gate. Heaven's
the
Gate,
cult?
the cult. Yeah.
I'm going with Heaven's Gate, dude. Fuck sour cream.
Fuck sour cream.
I don't like sour
I mean,
cream.
I don't like sour cream particularly, but sour cream is necessary to create a lot of good dips. Like, and
Fair.
I enjoy chips and dip quite a deal.
I don't know. I just never have been big on sour cream. It's a very weird
I've
flavor.
never been big on Heaven's Gate though.
Like
I went
you've,
through a
you,
phase.
You've,
I went through-
you've never been big on sour cream, but you've especially never been big on Heaven Gate.
Yeah, yeah.
sour cream and Heaven Gate. Oh shit! Sour cream.
Wait, does this get rid of sour cream and onion Pringles?
Yes.
Oh, well, then I'm team
No, it gets
sour.
rid of sour cream and onion Pringles.
I am full Pringle. Like
Wait, did I say sour cream?
I said
He said
sour
He
cream,
also said Heaven Gate.
sour cream and Heaven Gate, dude.
He
Well,
moved the apostrophe S.
Yeah.
Like I don't like sour cream, but I like sour cream flavored things,
Yeah.
like sour cream and onion Pringles.
chips. Yeah.
Sour cream and onion lays are great
I'll
too.
take those.
Yeah,
for
agreed.
sure. But I don't like just sour cream, dude. I'm especially not gonna shovel it into my mouth.
Yeah.
Just sour cream.
The way that we do with
like-
Pringles.
Yeah.
If a item at Taco Bell has sour cream on it, I'm not buying.
I get rid of it.
Agreed.
I just ask for it without it because I always get the Crunchwrap Supreme or whatever. if I get a meal or whatever, and I immediately go don't put that shit in there.
Don't.
Don't put sour cream in it.
You're just like you wait for them to like get you. They grab the scoop.
None of sour
They grab
cream,
the scoop
please.
and they scoop up the sour cream, and you're just like, no, get that out of there. Get that out of there. And they just dump it in the trash.
Get.
Like sour cream for me is on the same level as coleslaw.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want it.
Yeah, coleslaw is weird as fuck.
I've had one type of coleslaw that I've liked ever, but it was literally just like sugar with cabbage. So
Yeah.
Coleslaw.
I don't know. I haven't had coleslaw in probably like the last year, but I've had a sudden like desire to like cabbage.
well, cabbage is good.
You've had a desire to like cabbage?
I've started liking things that have cabbage in it that I didn't like.
I thought
Like
you
a
were
Reuben.
like
Do you
one day.
Reubens?
I've not had a Reuben, but I used to never eat egg rolls,
Egg rolls are good.
and now I love them.
Egg rolls are fantastic, dude. I was just talking to somebody at work about egg rolls, about how the only it's actually kind of a cute story. I had never had an egg roll before, and I was in college, and everybody else bought Chinese food, but I didn't have money.
It doesn't sound good, is what it comes down to. Like egg
Exactly.
roll doesn't sound
But I
good.
was super stoned, and all my friends were like, dude, I know you didn't order food, but you can have all of our egg rolls. And I was like, well, it's better than nothing. And I realized that egg rolls were the shit.
Yeah, you're like,
And
I'll take
I
all of
had
these.
like 7 egg rolls in one sitting. It was
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah, like
Dipping them in sauce and shit.
we ordered Chinese food at work the other night, and
Oh, look at you, high roller.
Oh, shit.
like 2 of the guys that got food with us didn't want their egg rolls, and they were just
They made a mistake.
Like
They
so,
totally
like
did too.
me and my buddy Ryan, we each eat ours.
Ryan, the
It's-
guy that I put the money inside of his foreskin,
Yeah,
I like that guy.
It is weird because egg rolls are delicious, and they
Also
always end up
disgusting.
being the thing that like everyone just doesn't. They just comes
Yep.
with it, and
Yep.
then people don't eat it.
yeah, but like we both ate ours like when we were first eating our food, and then the other 2 were just sitting in the bag in the back of the lab for like legitimately like 4 hours,
Yep.
and we are just like,
Doesn't matter.
well, I guess we're eating them.
No, I like egg rolls. I like the. Where'd you get the Chinese food from?
K Heart Q.
Yep, their egg rolls are pretty good. I mean,
I don't.
I don't like.
I'm not
their-
a super big fan of them, but their egg rolls are really good.
I'm totally team Food Chow,
Yep,
without a doubt. That's why we're really good friends, Brian.
that's the only reason we're really good friends.
Yeah. That's how we met.
No, Food Chow is the best. The Huang family is great, dude.
All right, how about meatballs versus hotels?
What about motels? Are they still in? Wait a minute. No, fuck meatballs. Do you guys actually use meatballs and shit?
Yeah,
Yeah, of course you use
What?
meatballs. You never had a meatball sub?
I'm not a fan of meatballs, personally.
meatball subs are great.
I can't even... First off,
Meatball sub was like a meme when we were in the band.
no.
Yeah, it was.
Chicken parm. If you're doing cheese sauce...
Spaghetti and meatballs, though? You can't just have spaghetti.
What? Yeah, you
But
can.
like, okay, so like
What are you talking about?
you can have meatballs that aren't with red sauce.
Right. Yeah.
They're still meatballs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, I feel like
There's a lot of good meatballs, right?
this,
Swedish
this is-
meatballs.
This one's hard. Like, I don't particularly care for hotels. I don't travel a lot, but when I travel, I,
I
want
would
a
like
place
to
to
have
stay.
a hotel, yeah, for sure.
I'm team hotel, man.
Like,
I don't give
feel
a
like
fuck about meatballs.
I feel like there's going to be an alternative that comes up though for a hotel.
Motels.
I don't think that there's a hotel for meatballs.
Yeah, like a shanty town situation.
Oh,
you know?
San Francisco, right? Yeah, that's
Yeah.
going great.
Right.
But are motels still a thing?
Yeah.
If we get rid of hotels, are
basically the same.
motels still a thing?
They're basically the same thing, aren't
No,
they?
they're not. No.
They're different because that's where you either dump a body or hook up with
Have sex with actual prostitutes.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, motels, the door from your room goes straight to the outside world. Hotels, all the rooms are enclosed in a building.
Yeah, but
Duh.
there's still
No, they're not. They're not the same thing. The Days Inn is not a hotel. The Days Inn is a motel. The Marriott is a hotel. That's why there's two different words.
Yeah, but all they did was change the first letter.
Oh my god.
You're talking about hotel, motel, holiday inn.
I'm team hotel. I'm team hotel and team motel because meatballs are arbitrary. You could have them in squares. You could have them in squares and then just call them meat squares and then you'll be fine, fuckers.
SG.
I'm not gonna lie. I would still go with them. Still taking hotels because you got if you're gonna travel, you gotta have somewhere to go.
Yeah,
But I don't like my meatballs.
I don't trust Airbnb.
They'll replace them with Airbnbs.
Nope. Will not do that.
Sketchy though, I guess.
Yeah, it's bad enough getting an Uber. I don't want to spend the night with my driver.
Dude, you know what really freaks me out is Uber Eats. I don't want a random dude getting my food and possibly jizzing in it. Because I know that delivery drivers have jizzed in food before. So a random dude that's fucking
have you ever gotten
his own car? Held accountable?
Have you ever gotten DoorDash before?
No.
Really?
No.
I get DoorDash every now and then. It's pretty great.
Do they jizz?
I mean, I also have access to a vehicle, so.
Right, you just go get it, you know. Do they jizz? Do they jizz?
No, I was going to say...
jizz?
Y'all jizz or?
Ask him when he shows up next time.
You jizzing this or?
I've only had women delivery drivers for DoorDash, which is weird.
Do they jizz in it? Yeah, ask her.
Ask her
if she
it's
jizzed.
2020. It might be a dude with a penis.
Or she just jizzed in it. You know? You can still jizz. Anybody can jizz if they think hard enough. Chewing gum versus the Beatles. Like the band.
I think the Beatles.
Yeah, I think so too.
I
like chewing gum.
Really, you know, as much as Big League Chew is a meme for me,
Yeah.
I don't really use it. I don't gum.
Dude, apparently nobody does, because I was looking for Big League Chew on the way here and I couldn't find it.
The fuck? Yeah, but like that's the thing is gum is like one of those things, like if it's right in front of me or somebody gives me a piece of it, I'll chew it.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to go out of my way to like get gum. No. Like I have gum in my car, but like I don't always fucking chew gum. I think it's good for people who are like trying to quit smoking or have like an oral fixation or whatever. Like it definitely is. It definitely helps some of that.
Yeah, my dad quit smoking. How old am I? My dad quit smoking 22 years ago, but he chews gum like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
Which is basically what he does instead of
And I think
smoking.
it would probably, realistically, if I chewed more gum, it'd probably help me like not bite my nails as much and shit like that.
Dude, I'm fierce with biting my nails.
Yeah.
But I've gotten to the point where I just bite the corner where it gets like...
where you can bleed from it?
Calculus? What fucking...
Cuticles?
No.
Calcified?
Calcified. Where like your nail gets very...
Calculized. It's like numbers. Like there's just numbers on it.
Dude, I've been drinking a lot of this whiskey. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's sour's cream, you know?
Sour's cream, Heaven Gate. Like... I think that's the hardest. That's the hardest you've laughed at something I've said, like unintentionally, like
in a while, at least.
In a long time.
I just don't know who Sours is. You know what I mean? And
who's Sour?
And what is his cream? You
and
don't want his cream.
Is, I say Sour's cream, and I hear you laugh about it. I don't even think
and you
of
didn't
it.
even know. You're like, oh yeah, I nailed that word. You were like, I fucking nailed that shit.
I'm really funny today.
Yeah, apparently, dude.
I didn't know sour cream was that funny.
What are we on? Meatballs?
I thought we were talking about snowmobiling.
I thought we were back on snowmobiling. I've been doing that a lot. Where Wes pointed out last night we were playing Call of Duty together, but he's like, he was telling me last night, he goes, you get really high pitched when you don't know what's going on. And I go, yeah, I know, I never know what's going on. He's like, when you get upset, your voice gets high pitched. I'm like, I know.
That actually is true.
It happens all the time.
But yeah, chewing gum versus the Beatles.
Oh, that's where we're at. Jesus.
Yeah, definitely the Beatles. And I'm not even like, I don't even listen to the Beatles all that much.
No, but you got to have the
But
Beatles
but
for
it's
the
like-
influence, you know,
Yep.
like for what happened down the road afterwards, you know.
Well, I'm picking chewing gum because I don't want my dad to smoke cigarettes. And my dad hates the Beatles, so.
Well, you'd have a dad that doesn't smoke cigarettes, but you'd also lose a bunch of your favorite bands, probably.
Okay, cool. You're acting as if another band wouldn't have done what the Beatles managed to kind of do, you know? So,
They probably wouldn't.
you know.
Yeah, they probably wouldn't.
I don't like the Beatles. I think they're fucking dumb. I understand their influence on
I
music.
really liked
but
their early music. And then
I thought there was a couple of really good songs, I thought, but like it wasn't.
and then
all...
I liked some of their later stuff that got really weird.
yeah,
That's the
yeah.
stuff I like.
Yeah. Strawberry Fields is a really cool.
See, the
song.
thing is that Pink Floyd would still exist without the Beatles because they came out at the same time. So,
Probably, yeah.
fuck the Beatles.
Did they?
And just listen to Pink Floyd. Yeah. Pink Floyd's
When did
first
Pink
album
Floyd
was
start?
61. Their first EP.
You always wonder too.
I thought the Beatles started in the 50s.
They might
probably
have.
late 50s. Yeah,
Who knows? Who cares?
I would say late 50s. But you always wonder how much those bands are taking influence from each other too.
They could have. And I'm just saying this as like my uncle Paul is. You guys know Paul Haggerty.
Yep.
His dad is my uncle.
Okay.
And him and I talk about the Beatles a lot. And since he's been in my family, which has been like 15 years, he's been trying to get me into the Beatles. They're good. They're really good. The four of them are really, really great creative musicians. Their music's nice to listen to, but I don't like it. I don't know how to explain it. There's like, I can probably get a playlist of
Preferences.
like 10 to 15 songs that I would like Come Together is great. Anything John Lennon has put out before Yoko Ono is pretty good. Paul McCartney's great. I like all their solo stuff. It's the same way I feel with Genesis. Genesis is decent, but I love Peter Gabriel and I love Phil Collins. But when they're together, I don't like it. But when
Phil
it's
Collins,
the Beatles all
Mustard
separate,
Tiger.
no, the Phil Collins from Lollapalooza. But when they're separate, I like him a little more. I love Paul McCartney and I love John Lennon individually. And then with Genesis, it's Gabriel and Collins. And
I don't know. There's
if getting rid of the, I didn't mean to cut you off, but if getting rid of the Beatles gets rid of all their influences, then that's just stupid. Because
No, I'm not saying it gets rid of their influences. I'm just saying it would change some of the bands that took them as influences. You know?
but I feel like, and this is just me.
But you also don't know how extreme those influences would have
there's a
been.
lot of
Exactly.
great covers of songs from the Beatles or from the members of the Beatles that I really enjoy. So I feel like
They're
I
great
would miss out
musicians.
on that too.
They're great musicians in a lot of ways. They're also very creative. They were very creative with like cover art, general like.
Yep.
There's just certain songs that you're like,
We
wow,
wouldn't
like-
have Charles Manson.
No, but it's like
and we wouldn't have Charles Manson's songs either.
we wouldn't, and he's actually very gifted
Yeah,
in more ways than one. But
that was another
There-
clip I
there's,
almost put on.
I like that one.
Because Charles Manson, that was a good clip. Kenny showed us Charles Manson's music because we had no idea he made music.
Yeah.
And of
we were
course,
like,
Kenny
he's on iTunes.
Of course, Kenny of all people is super into Charles.
Yep. Charles Manson wrote a letter to one of the members of the band Decapitated. And,
Oh, I think I heard about that.
they made a song out of one of the letters that he had sent them.
It's intense.
Yep.
Decapitated is bad.
Death Grips opened ex-military with a quote from Charles Manson.
But the thing I was mostly trying to get at was like my biggest problem with the Beatles, and it's such a fucking selfish, it's a biased reason because I don't like them as a whole.
Is that you wouldn't have chewing gum if they...
And other people could say this about Pink Floyd or Led Zeppelin or Fleetwood Mac or other bands that may have ran out of influence other bands. But it seems like the Beatles are attributed to a lot of eureka moments, when at the same time there are bands that were out at the same time, such as the Doors or the Rolling Stones. Or, I mean, you have guys like, you can even go back to Elvis, where it's like, oh, well, Elvis was he's the only reason this happened. It's like, is he though?
No. No.
No, I
And
wouldn't
it's
say
like
the only reason
so
either,
so
though.
what I'm looking at basically is for me for this argument between Five Gum and the Beatles is like I think if you get rid of the Beatles, some of their eureka moments would have been attributed to another band or a multitude of other bands.
Quite possibly, yeah.
Sure.
So I'm
But
looking,
I think it's the all of their influence as a whole is what shaped people's vision
agreed
of them.
because I watched a documentary
I
about
don't
the
think
Beatles.
the majority of those other bands would have caught on in America.
That's a very
If it
very
weren't
good
for the
argument
Beatles.
because the Beatles were
That's
they
my stance.
they
on it.
were the catalyst of the English invasion.
Yep.
I would say without the Beatles, you don't get in America, you don't get people in America opening up to bands like Pink Floyd, like The Who, like Rolling Stones, The Doors.
Right.
The Beatles were there. So yes, if you're attributing it to that, I'm taking the Beatles. But I mean, you've never lived until you've chewed Five Gum. You know what I mean? Like, whatever happened to Stride Gum? Remember that?
Yeah, think about icebreakers and all that shit.
Where's Juicy Fruit gone?
Fruit's great.
The flavor left 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
5 minutes in.
What about bubble tape?
That's still a thing. It's still edible too.
Thing about bubble tape was that I always got so pissed at people who ate the entire fucking thing of tape without unraveling it.
Oh, so you hated me?
Yes.
Yeah, I was gonna say because I know you used to do that, and I used to eat.
But it was
bubble
the same.
tape.
It was the same thing with fruit by the foot. Don't eat the entire thing at the same time. For sure, work your way down.
Wait, no, fruit by the foot.
Both fruit by the foot and fruit roll-ups. It's just ball.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's what
a
you
mistake.
do.
That's a mistake. It takes away all the fun.
Do you toast your Pop Tarts?
Sometimes.
You know what my dad does? He puts butter on them.
Butter-
and then
butter's
makes a
it.
sandwich.
What? Butter.
Dude,
What
it's
kind of Pop-Tarts?
amazing.
Wait, what kind of Pop-Tarts, though?
Any of them. Mostly brown sugar and cinnamon. But he takes them and he
Butter.
butters the bottom part that's unfrosted and puts them together and makes a sandwich and eats it. And oh my God, it's amazing. It's so good. It's so good.
Butter's the popcorn. Butter's the My voice goes high when I don't know what I'm talking about. What's going on?
You butter goes on popcorn.
No,
Yeah, I don't get that.
You gotta get toaster strudels
Right.
Yeah.
and then put peanut butter between two of them.
Wait a minute.
Right.
Repeat that.
Peanut butter.
You gotta take toaster strudels
Okay.
Right.
and then you put peanut butter between the two of them.
Go on.
Right.
That's all you need.
That's it?
Oh my. What about icing?
I mean, do you ice a PB&J?
No, because PB&J doesn't come with icing.
you could put sour cream on it.
You could, but sour
But-
cream.
But
on
sour
a
cream's gone. It's out.
Yeah,
It's
I
out.
guess,
It is
yeah.
out. We have hotels now.
I don't know if we're supposed to take the previous ones into account.
I thought it was a culmination of all the food or objects. Like
We'd have shit. We wouldn't have shit. We'd have
Like-
the Beatles and like fucking erasers or some shit. Like, that's
So,
all we
so
have.
it's just gotta be for the episode. Like, you gotta keep, like, you gotta somehow progress it in such a way.
It's a clean slate on every episode.
it's a clear shot. Oh, yeah, you did it. You said the thing. Episode 100. He said it.
Oh shit!
But no, and that's the thing is, you know,
I'm taking the Beatles. I don't know.
I sure.
Yeah, I think I'm taking the Beatles.
But like, I would love to have a conversation about music influences. We talked about it with Dave quite a bit about like bands that influenced other bands and where they would
Yeah,
be.
like where-
Like
yeah.
I've had this thought where I had a dream once where the timeline was reversed, and it was a very weird, probably LSD influenced dream where instead of Pink Floyd being the big prog rock psychedelic band of the 70s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. Instead, it was Steven Wilson and Porcupine Tree coming out in the late 60s and going through. And like all the stuff that Steven Wilson did for Porcupine Tree and with Porcupine Tree, you probably could have if the talent is there and the idea was there, music technology, as far as all that, I think production's gotten cleaner without a doubt. But like, could you take a psychedelic band or a progressive rock band from today and plug them into the 70s and still have them be successful? Or is there something culturally significant within Pink Floyd and the Doors?
I think they could be. I think they would probably be more successful.
I think they would
because they'd be more technical.
Yes, they would have more.
But
of an impact.
They wouldn't have been that without the precursor.
Probably.
Right.
I think what's interesting as far as like progressive rock goes especially is what was considered progressive rock at its time is no longer considered progressive.
Yeah, it's not the same.
Well,
I mean, that's the thing
in
is
the
you can
name.
say
But
progressive rock and
then
be like,
also-
oh, Rush. And you can also be like progressive rock and be like Periphery or
Yep.
like fucking Opeth or some shit. Like
Yeah.
completely different sounds, all three of them.
Yep.
But like they're all progressive rock. They're under that umbrella.
I think when we were talking about it with Dave,
But also
it
at
was,
the same
Tool.
time,
Tool is progressive rock,
Yep.
I would say. And they're totally different from
I know
all those
you and
bands.
I were talking about it once, but continue your point.
but also if you look at progressive rock music today,
Yeah.
there's a lot of similarities between them, or like bands that won't actually progress. Like they'll just find their sound that fits into the genre of progressive rock, but they're no longer required to actually progress to be progressive rock.
The thing to me about progressive rock is it can either mean the band itself progresses in its sound, or it can mean that the songs themselves progress throughout them.
Right.
There's a difference, and like
I'm finding nowadays that a lot of progressive rock bands that I'm finding don't actually progress much
they're
within
just
their
dynamic within
yeah.
their album or within their songs individually.
Because wasn't it
Not even. I just think that, like, okay, so there's specific tunings that they use that is, like, heavily featured throughout progressive rock bands. They'll maybe use, like, odd time signatures. And then, like all gent music sounds exactly the same. And it's just, like, that's an offshoot of progressive rock. But it's unoriginal.
I think so too.
So, like, is progressive rock still progressive? Or is this just what we're calling it?
It seems like gent is where it's gotten to, and it seems like it's stuck around for quite some time
Right.
too. Hasn't moved forward.
I think, like, the bands that are doing the most for progressive rock right now, in my opinion, a lot of them are actually just going under the radar entirely. But, like, there's, like, sort of this Nordic progressive rock scene. Like, you'll see it in, like, Iceland and Norway, and a little bit of Sweden and Finland. But, like, Agent Fresco, which I've been ranting and raving about for probably the past 7 years or so. Good old Track 5.
Good old Track 5.
Back when I used to not
Back
have,
when you were in that iDarb scene.
back when we didn't I didn't have a good vehicle that would actually display titles. It was just Track 5 of a particular album.
Yeah.
Always happened to come on when Seth was in my vehicle.
Yeah.
But
Good old
yeah, like
That was an iDarb thing? It wasn't an iDarb thing?
No,
it was a
every time
BFam
I
thing?
got in his car, like it would turn to Track 5 for some reason. And I'd be like, a good old Track 5.
Was that the Explorer?
and then
yeah,
we turned it
I heard
into
the
it.
Exploder.
The Exploder.
Dora the Exploder.
Yeah, she did. All over my sheets.
But yeah, so that band and Leprous are probably like the two.
And that's who we were
rock
listening
band-
to before we
Yep.
came in. They're really fucking cool.
Yeah, they're probably the two progressive rock bands now that I see as like doing the most for the genre.
Yeah. I thought it was really weird that they announced that they were recording the album in blackface. Like, I thought that was really strange. like they're like, all right, we are Leprous. Just to let you know, we're in the studio right now. We are all in blackface. Please enjoy. Like that was pretty unnecessary.
did not.
It was a little controversial.
And they did not do that.
We all ate 2 teaspoons of sour cream, and we just got off the phone with Heaven Gate. We're in blackface. We are Leprous.
Hashtag blackface.
Hashtag episode 100. Oh man! For those of you listening, we are not in
record this album
blackface.
in one clear shot.
We should have done that. That would have been funny.
No, we should.
We should have done blackface.
We should do episode 3/5 in blackface.
I can't wait for episode 316.
I'm going to compromise with you, and I will be there for episode 3/5, but none of us do blackface.
All right, that works.
Okay.
Episode 316, we all have to dress up in tights and have Stone Cold Steve Austin attire on, and crash beers together.
Okay.
That works.
It's the only way.
Jesus. So it took us a little over 2 years to get to episode 100, right? So episode 316.
Oh, you're doing like one a week, so yeah, 2 years.
Yeah. At certain times, there was no schedule, honestly, until we hit like 60 something, and then we were like, all right, let's do it.
I'm screwing up now, right?
No, because we did last week.
Well,
we're just a week ahead.
As soon as we switch to Tuesdays for D&D.
Well, the
It'll
thing
still
is
come out.
that
It'll
we
still
can
come out
just
Wednesdays.
like it's easier to schedule like D&D. I would rather do early. It's if I'm not like, unless I'm on call or I get called into the ER, I'm still home at 7:00 at night.
Yep.
So we can do the show from like 8 to 11 or 8 to 12, but I don't have to focus when I'm here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sour cream and Heaven Gate, dude. Blackface and all that shit.
Honestly, your lack of focus makes the show better.
That's what makes
Thank
it better,
you.
right?
Because sometimes you seem focused on the show and you talk about.
And I
shit
think
that,
I think that's why I wanted to do it with you.
Yeah, I don't like to talk about politics anymore.
I think that's why I wanted to do it with you. Was because you are incredibly unpredictable in a lot of ways.
Thanks.
And I think the contrast was what makes.
We have a very clear-cut straight man. And you're the reason my dad watches the show, which makes me upset. My dad listens to this show just to see how you react, which is accurate.
yeah.
Sure, I think people.
Well, most of my family, especially after the Bills game this year, they think you're the funniest person of all time.
They would be probably correct, I would imagine, right?
Sure. But like,
Of all
well, it
time?
was
That's
like my dad still brings up. So the Bills game last year, we went to we met up at Herb Phillipson's parking lot, and it was just the 4 of us.
I thought it was Spirit Halloween parking lot.
It was me and you, my dad, and my Uncle Chris, and it was supposed to be Vinny, but Vinny didn't make it. But you were there like a half hour before us, and my Uncle Chris, this is my Uncle Chris's first interaction with Seth. He meets Seth. He goes, "Hey, I'm Chris. Nice to meet you. Hey, how's it going?" And he goes, "You've been here for like a half hour. Why'd you get up this early?" And Seth straight up just goes, "Oh, well, my brain told me to wake up and get here, so I woke up and got here. What took you so long?" And they thought it was the funniest thing of all time, and they still mention that, and it bothers me because they probably like you more than me, which is fine.
I mean, that happens.
But yeah, no, it's really good because I like that it's good that you and I know each other enough, especially because before the show started, we were already hanging out constantly because when you lived on Seneca and I lived on Bridge, we were like 2 blocks away from each other.
And who else am I going to watch SummerSlam with, you know?
Right.
Besides Bill.
The
doctor.
And it's like, I like to make people laugh, and that was the biggest thing. And we have the benefit of knowing a lot of people. So if it was like me and, outside of our friend group, if it was like me and Jesse, God forbid, or like me and like another buddy, and like me and Dan or me and Sam.
Also, you'd probably have 2 episodes if you were doing one with Jesse because he would not show up.
That's very fair. And I think the good thing too is that you don't mind doing 99% of the work because you understand that I'm busy.
Well, I also like doing it.
Yeah.
Like, I also don't mind doing it.
Exactly. So it's a good compromise. And eventually you'll find somebody that's more unpredictable than me, and it might just be my little sister as soon as she stops being.
And as soon as I find someone who's just overall better than you in every way, that's
right.
You know, you're gone.
And that's fine. I'm prepared for that. I was expecting episode 100 to be just I show up and you're already doing
just an
the episode.
ultimatum. Yeah.
It's just already you doing the episode with Kenny, and you're like, you're out.
Yeah, you're gone.
Yeah.
We're talking about Charles Manson. We're just gonna have the Manson podcast, and we'll just talk about Manson situations.
No, but I'm like, and my older brother who lives in Jacksonville texted me, and he goes, I can't believe it's 100 episodes already. And I'm like, yeah.
Already? It's been 2 years, bro.
Well, it's like, it's still crazy to me. Like 100 episodes. I was thinking about that when I was taking a shit earlier. I was like 100 episodes. Let's be generous and say every episode is at least 2.5 hours. That's 300 hours of us sitting in this room bullshitting with people like our friends and other people from around town.
You wouldn't believe how much that chair smells like your butt, you know?
Oh my God. Especially because I haven't done laundry in a while. God, I smell like dirt and grime and scabies.
But, like, let's be honest, we've come from having one fucking room mic to actually having a
full studio,
a video component, being able to pull up videos and have people see what we're watching and stuff like that. It's totally different now.
And like I tell people now, it's like,
well, you're still making some of the same mistakes. You're having me on.
Of course, yes.
No, we have you on less.
Yeah, that's why it's every 50 episodes. So.
Yeah.
No, like, oh my God, if there was one person we could get on again, I want Cody on again, but he's never in town. I would love to have Cody on. I don't want to have Wes on ever again. Yeah. It was
last
really
time.
funny.
The only time we ever had Wes on, we watched porn.
We had him on twice.
I mean?
No, we all forget the sec.
We did have him twice.
Yeah, I forgot too.
Oh, we had him when we were talking about Wish and all that shit. Right?
Yeah, I totally forgot about that because we mentioned it to him the last time we were hanging out with him, and it's like.
Because we were watching ball pit porn the first time.
I completely forgot about the whole second episode.
Yeah.
That's literally 3 hours.
I only remember the first one because Christian was here. We did 2 episodes in the same day.
We did 2 episodes in one sitting.
Yeah.
Which was rough. And obviously the Zach episode was fantastic. I want to have Jake on again, as long as we don't talk about politics. Which won't happen.
No, that won't happen at all.
We got to start getting big. We got to think bigger, dude. You know, like Jesse Ventura and
Billy Barlow.
Yeah. Well, why don't you tell me? Why don't you tell me if you're such a patriot? That's all he's gonna do is say that.
I know.
Dude, have you ever seen the thing of Jim Norton? The time where they had him on Jim and Sam or whatever. And he goes hard and fucking walks out on the show. No, it's so fucking funny because Norton was just talking shit to him to Ventura the whole time.
Have you seen? Oh, go ahead.
Like, honestly, you should be trying to get
Alex Jones,
like someone who's not just a friend from Central New York.
Yeah. Yeah, I would like to get like musicians. I was also thinking about like trying to reach out to like. People through Skype, which to me is a nightmare editing wise.
Yeah.
But I don't give a fuck. We can have him on. It's all up to him.
Yeah, but I mean, I would be.
It's fine if it's like one person, and then you're Skyping the one person,
right?
But it's complicated as soon as you get another person in there.
Well, wasn't it like the quality of Skype will change throughout the conversation?
It comes out in a very strange
format.
Yeah, it comes out at a different like rate too, like. So you, I don't know, the way we used to do it, we did it with the wrestling podcast, but I used to have to like straighten out the audio every like 10 minutes or whatever because it would fall behind.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But going back on that point, I really enjoy the fact we were talking about it last night or the night before that I've had since we came back. We released the episode with Terrence with Kid Drip, which was fucking
dude. That was
did you see how big that one got?
Yeah, it definitely, like, the video blew up for sure.
Yeah, so usually on YouTube are, like, because most people listen to the show.
Like, more than
90% probably listen.
Mostly.
But on YouTube, within less than a day.
Our videos get maybe 12, 15, maybe 20, and then like the older ones, just because they've been around for a long time, they go up a little bit. But like
within a day, over 200 just with our buddy Terrence. Which that was a great episode. I rewatched that one and I was like, dude, I can't like it, and it blew my mind.
When we did that episode, I was like, this is gonna be awful because it was so all over the place.
Oh my god,
like,
it was bad. We got him hammered. Like
he was like yelling the N-word and shit.
But it was great. But
yeah,
immediately, like this past week since that episode came out, I've had people text me. And I agree that I wish we could get like some more high profile people, but I've had people that have been reaching out to me, at least me personally.
Some of the charm, I think, is that we're just normal fucking randos.
Yeah, and there's one of my friends that we were friends like growing up, and then we kind of broke off in high school, and he's like, dude, I really miss you. It'd be wicked fun to like come back, like hang out and like get on the show. And I've had like 3 or 4 people. Our buddy Dakota, who was the first person to get merch from us, is moving to West Virginia at the end of the month. So we were trying to have him on.
I was the first person to get merch from us.
Well, you were you and I were both the first person, but it's just like,
well, they shipped here, so
yeah, that's fair. But it's just like I'd love to have I don't know, I'd love like you know, but it's also I really like how it's tight knit. I like that we're having our own kind of centralized group. Because if it was 100% up to me, it would be like the same 10 to 15 guests. It would just be
like
a cycle
rotation.
be a cycle of people that we got drunk with at Brandon Trail, because those are the people I want to spend the most time with. But I think the best episodes we had, you know, having Gary on was a great episode. Paul Esden, fucking A. That was probably my favorite one, just because you and I both finally found somebody that knew more about sports than us. And that was just great from like, you know, an objective standpoint, because, and also he's another guy that I haven't seen in like 8 years that wanted to come on and reconnect. And
well, Paul also had some sort of a reach.
Oh my God.
Because he does a radio show.
Yeah, he has a radio show in Syracuse. He's an announcer for SU lacrosse and the Chiefs, and yeah, and it's just cool that we can do that. Like we started off just, you know, drinking Black Velvet and playing Halo, and then like, oh, let's record an episode.
Yeah, we even had a Lost episode where we played Mortal Kombat.
I know, so this isn't even really episode 100. This is episode 101, and we are never, ever releasing the Lost episode. Yeah, it's not happening, and it's not because it will like defame us. It's because it's so unlistenable that
it's in the most unprofessional podcast of all time. I think
it was literally just me, you, and your brother blackout drunk with a microphone on playing video games for an hour and a half.
And it might have just been a microphone too.
I think it was just a microphone. It was like episode 14 or something like that.
I remember like
because I remember
it was early. Yeah.
I remember you put it out, and I immediately I listened to it, and I immediately texted you. I'm like, dude, take this down.
Yeah, I was gonna put it out for like a bonus thing for episode 100 actually, and then I listened back to it. Nah, it's so much talking over each other and just yelling and dumb shit.
Yep.
But it's part of what we do anyway, so.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to eventually have DJ Rugburn on.
Yeah.
But
we should get we should get Tim Heidecker on, dude. I met him once. He knows me.
I think I'd like to have Joe on again.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
I want to get Dave back in too.
I want to get Dave back in, which would be wicked easy because he's only like 3 blocks away from here.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna go do their podcast this weekend.
Yep, and I'm gonna link up with them and do one because we were talking about it, about how it's actually in hindsight good that it's just you going on because
and how you were so mad.
I was pretty pissed.
You were so mad.
I was pretty pissed. I was pretty pissed. I'm not gonna lie. I was pretty pissed. I was pretty upset about it because I thought it was like me and you, but it's okay.
Yeah, but it's like, I mean, you know, we don't always have to.
I mean, I would like to always be with you, but that can't happen because you're engaged now.
Yeah. I gave the wrong person the ring. Is what I'm trying to say.
Oh, yeah.
That's what you're saying.
But no, I was talking to Dave about, like, with you, it's going to be a lot of music-based stuff. And I have nothing to add to that. I have nothing to add to that. You want to hear my entire?
Why don't you bring food or object with you, dude? Do some
No,
of
I'm
those.
just gonna show up and I'm gonna be like, "Hey, what's up, Anabasis? I brought a 6-pack of White Claw. I'm gonna drink 3 now, and then we're gonna talk about Iran and The Last of Us
in Akon City.
and Akon City."
Not I Ran the Country, but the song by Flock of Seagulls.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because this is a music podcast.
And yeah, I wouldn't have anything to add to
You
it.
should bring some sour cream too, just in case, because I know they like it.
But yeah, no,
Way
it's-
more than hotels.
It's so crazy to me that we're at 100 right now. It seriously fucking blows my mind. Like I just
3 numbers, dude. That's 3 numbers.
that's 3 digits.
That's crazy.
You should have put a 0 at the beginning to begin with, and then you wouldn't be so
Right.
nervous about it.
0,
Oh,
0,
yeah,
1.
true.
But then this one would be 0, 1, 0, 0.
0, 1, 0,
Significant
0, 1, 1, 1, 1.
figures, Brian. Sig figs. Wait, what's the next food or object?
We did 3. That's
All
what
right.
We usually do.
And
We usually do 3.
well, I
we
did
can
have
do
a
4.
couple topics to bring up eventually.
Okay. Well, let's do that. We've done 2+ hours. 3 hours almost.
Let's
Yeah, I
see.
think so.
Oh,
Almost 3 hours.
I only had like two things. So the first one was a kind of a serious thing, and the other one was not a serious thing.
Which one do we want first?
The serious thing.
Oh, okay.
All
right.
This
Well,
was a.
Thanks
This was
thanks for letting us have the.
No, I think it's good.
All right,
no.
we'll
This
talk-
was the
we'll
thing I
end
was
it on a
thinking
high
about.
note.
I was talking.
End on a low note.
I was talking to my boss about this, about how this is so stupid to think of, but you wouldn't think of this, and this is why it was interesting to me. So, I was taking a shit at work the other day,
Right. Go on.
right? And I noticed
poop.
that usually in public restrooms, where you break off the toilet paper, there's like the teeth on the thing.
Right.
Right. I noticed that in the emergency room and the bathrooms right outside the emergency room, those teeth aren't there. Okay.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's really weird. Because
Oh,
I
the-
was
Okay.
I was trying to break off the toilet paper and I kept pulling the roll over and I ended
Yep.
up probably wasting like 20 sheets.
Yeah. What do they call that? Perforated or something?
No, the sheets are perforated, but there's teeth on the roll dispenser itself that breaks it off.
Oh, I know the ones you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like on Saran wrap.
Yeah, exactly. And I was mentioning it to my boss. I was like, hey, how come none of the bathrooms in the ER, the rest of the hospital has them, but none of the bathrooms in the ER have this.
You should have been like, this is important.
This sharp thing. No, dude, if my boss could give you a list of those stupid fucking things I ask him, he would be.
I got
on
a
for
toilet paper
3.5
question.
hours. I know. I straight up am like, Ryan, I got the stupidest fucking question for you, and this is his move. This is his move.
Mm-hmm.
So he'll be like on his phone or like writing paperwork. He'll be like, all right, go on. Like that's this whole thing. And I'm like, how come none of the toilet paper dispensers in the ER have teeth to break off the roll? And he was telling me because a few years ago, before he was even working at the hospital, a patient cut their wrists open on
see
the
that.
serrated
Yeah,
part.
so why are they anywhere in the hospital?
That's true. Good
Well,
question.
because they're like,
Because
A
as
ba-
you were explaining it, I was thinking, is it you're just discovering this there, but really it's nowhere in the hospital because people could cut themselves with it.
but mental patients are usually immediately directed to the ER.
Ah.
They're not gonna put like people in the surgery unit at a disadvantage for wiping their asses on the off chance that they slice their wrists open. But yeah, so apparently that's why.
That's
And
crazy.
so my next thought,
But that's like a prison thought, though. It's
Exactly.
like, how do I get this done? You
so
know?
my next thought after that was, the three of us have each had a numerous amount of
shits.
jobs.
Oh, I think
A numerous amount of jobs and occupations. So what are some of the weirdest rules or, things in place that you thought were really, really stupid until you realized, oh, the reason that rule is in place is a very serious reason. So for me, it's the fact that the toilet paper rolls in the ER don't have a serrated edge on them to cut the toilet paper open, until I found out that, oh, you can slice your wrists open pretty well if you just go, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same reason if you're a mental patient in the ER, you have to, tie down all the, anything that you could use to choke yourself with, and you're not allowed to have
Right.
pens. If you have to fill out paperwork, you have to use a marker, because you can't stab yourself with a marker, but you can stab yourself with a pen.
I guess a lot of OSHA shit is pretty kind of like just stupid.
Pretty arbitrary and
yeah,
silly.
because you're like, oh, I can't put a pallet standing up. Why? Like, I can't lean it up against something. Well, what's really gonna happen if a fucking wooden pallet falls from standing on the fucking ground? Like, what's really gonna happen?
Well, I was thinking that with when I worked at Novellas, because you worked there.
Yep.
Even though you're in the lab, so you're not on a fork truck all the time. But we had that one guy that died quite a few years ago where he stacked the prime slabs up like 7 or 8 high, and they used to stack them 9 high.
Yep.
And each one of those slabs is correct me if I'm wrong, they're at least 1,000 pounds, but they're generally between like 12 to 1,600 pounds a piece. And
he had climbed up the side of them, and because they're sort of like curved a little bit, all of the weight being on the side of them, even just being like maybe like, I don't know, 180 to 200 pound human being was enough to cause the things to shift, since they're all angled in the same way, stacked on top of one another, and crushed him to death.
Yeah.
He should have dodged. You know what I mean?
I mean, he shouldn't have been
You shouldn't
climbing
have said
up there.
that, but
I'm just saying, if you can dodge, if you can dodge a bunch of pallets, you can dodge a ball. You know what I mean?
But as far as Novellas goes, I think the thing that absolutely blows my mind is so we can't have cans or bottles in the plant because superheated water expands like crazy.
Yeah.
And if that happens like over in remelt, that's extremely dangerous and likely to cause an explosion that could potentially ruin the entire plant and kill plenty of people inside of it. But like, there are parts of the plant where there is a extremely large amount of lubricant or coolant that is used on the material, and then that material gets scrapped with all of that stuff on it and brought over to remelt,
And that shit can
where
still
they dry
also
it,
expand. Yeah.
and then run it through, apparently without issue. So if they're already going to be drying things off before they load it over there, couldn't they just do that with the bottles or the cans?
I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I worked in remelt, and I remember part of it had to do with when the material in, specifically like if you had like a bottle of Dasani or Poland Spring, it had to do with when the materials and the plastic were superheated along with the water.
I think it's just the water.
Is it just the water?
I think it's just the water, but the fact that it's self-contained within the bottle will cause it to expand even further before it gets to that point.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, you're definitely right with that. And it's not only because you have a master's degree and I don't. It's because
Part of the reason now.
it's definitely because if you're correcting me, I'm not doubting you. But no, you're definitely right. Because it was a huge thing. There was actually a guy, I remember telling you about it when I first started working there, about how there was a guy that I worked with. You're not allowed to have a Bic lighter. Bic lighters are also a no-go in Novellas.
Yep.
And when we were during orientation, he got caught with a Bic lighter when he went out for a smoke break. They confiscated it and warned him. The next day, he comes in with a Bic lighter, gets caught trying to hide it. They confiscate it, bring him in, talk to him, warn him a second time. A week later, gets caught trying to hide it not as effectively. He got caught with it a third time in like 6 days.
Yep.
And just straight up got walked out.
Yep.
And
I'm surprised it didn't happen the second time.
Agreed. One of my coworkers, her husband is a delivery driver for something. I think he's just a CDL contractor kind of guy, and he has a puck to get into Novellas if he has to go in and do paperwork or get a shipment invoice or something. And he actually got turned away one of the times because he had a bottle of Gatorade in his cup holder.
Yep.
Electrolytes.
Well, no,
Think
it's a
about all the
bottle. It's a
ion
plastic
for.
bottle with, you know, you're not like. I had to buy an electric lighter because I smoked when I worked at Novellus, and I had to buy an electric lighter to light my cigarettes or get a Zippo.
Yep.
Because those can't. Those aren't hard. You throw a Zippo and Magma and you're good or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But it's crazy to me how. Is it Murphy's Law? Anything bad that can happen will happen?
Yeah.
How the fuck is Novellus still around? Isn't that insane? Like, because that's probably the tightest. The thing that they're most extremely tight about, security-wise, is anything that could potentially be carelessly tossed.
But does that mean that 9 Mile is gonna definitely explode?
No,
It's just.
It's crazy to me that nothing bad has happened yet.
Yeah.
Right. Yes, but that's the reason that all those things are in place, you know.
Yeah.
Right. That's why HIPAA's a thing. I had to just do, because it's 2020 now, I had to do a HIPAA fucking console.
That's why they made the changes to TSA.
Right.
At, airport checkpoints.
It's precautionary. It all is.
And like how often is that stuff avoided because of it? And it's like it's daily.
Always.
It's hourly that those things are being prevented.
Yeah. I mean, I've had some
as far
weird
as like
shit.
TSA
like,
goes.
Some people are just dumb.
So like the fact that people doubt that, like a gun ban or a ban on certain guns anyways. I'm not an extremist that says get rid of all of them, but like the fact that people say that you can't ban assault rifles.
Right.
Because someone will get it anyways. It's just like they're going to get caught with it. It's bound to happen.
Hopefully. And that's the thing.
The idea is
I don't want to go on a big thing with gun crime statistics.
I'm about to go on into it.
I'm going to go on a bit for it. We're in the same boat. You don't need a fucking.
You should just burn the boat, dude.
Burn the boat. You don't need a semi-automatic M4 with a 35 round clip or magazine. Oh, I said clip. Sorry.
Yeah, you have to say magazine.
Sorry, everybody listening that is fucking jerking off to pictures of MAGA hats.
Twitter's going off right now.
Right. But it's like you don't need a 35 round magazine to hunt deer. I mean, you can hunt a deer with a crossbow.
But when you got 30 to 50 feral hogs,
right,
then you got to open up.
Then you need because that's a huge thing. Was it Joe Rogan was talking about that? How they're literally hiring experienced hunters. It's hunters with licenses to hunt these hogs and stuff that have had these licenses for over like 10 to 15 years that are getting contracted for thousands of dollars to go down into like Texas and Arizona, New Mexico, because these feral hogs are coming up.
It's just overpopulation, basically.
That's the fucking Mexican caravan that we were worried about. It wasn't the migrants. It was the feral hogs.
it really was.
Because it's fucked up. And, but yeah, you don't need, I'm all for like, Cody Krause. We know Cody Krause. I am friends with Cody Krause. I don't know how you feel about him. Whatever. I think he's a good guy, but he's very adamant about all these gun laws and stuff. But it's like at the same time, it's nice to have an M4 or an AR-15, whatever an AR-15 is the civilian model. It's the semi-automatic one.
It's not semi-automatic.
It's not semi-automatic.
Well, okay, so semi-automatic can still be fired like hair trigger.
Yeah, semi-automatic.
So I don't
if you're fast enough, and if you could probably modify the trigger enough to where it would.
I don't know. I have a very limited understanding of the terminology behind automatic, semi-automatic.
My entire understanding of semi-automatic weapons is pressing the left button on the D-pad to turn my M16.
It just means that it loads another round into the chamber immediately, and it can fire as fast as the trigger.
Well, I guess,
but you can't hold it.
I'm sure semi-automatic is fine.
It just means
overall,
you can't hold the trigger.
There are
and go
certain like the caliber of the rounds.
Sure.
The fact that many of these guns were designed for tactical use.
Yeah. Well,
it's like
it definitely is unnecessary to have in civilian arms, and for a lot of reasons.
But at the same time, it's like I don't want to. I mean,
Here's the thing. To me, it's like when they said the right to bear arms, when they wrote that fucking down, they weren't thinking about fucking an AK-47.
But somebody could take the right to free speech and be like, well, they weren't expecting people to be able to upload a podcast internationally and spout their opinions out and get people to follow them.
Yeah,
So if you're going to take the right to bear arms as a bill that was written in 1765 or whatever, you should apply all of them to that. You can't just apply one here and there and there. I think it comes down to...
I still think the intensity is entirely...
I would have to look at the exact wording of the Constitution as far as what it says about right to bear arms, but I remember a part specifically about
a malicious government.
In a well-regulated militia.
Correct. Which is what's going on in Virginia? Is it Virginia? They're going around and there's certain county, like the Virginia senators or the governor, somebody enacted a movement basically, or push forward a bill to take away these certain firearms that they're banning. Mm-hmm. And they're essentially going there because whenever you buy a firearm legally, and I'm emphasizing legally, it's put in a registry.
Yep.
So if your gun is part of this registry, and let's say you have an AR-15 and they can check your record and I'm totally spouting shit out of my ass, but let's say you have an AR-15 and they can keep a record of the fact that, oh, you have a scope and like a laser pointer and a 40-round magazine and whatever else. They can go and be like, oh, well, this guy has all this shit on his gun. He may or may not be using it for good reasons. Let's go confiscate it. But now what's happening is the county legislatures in Virginia are like, no, fuck it. This guy's never done anything wrong. He's had this gun for 10 years. Let's let him keep it.
To me...
But it's
But it's also, what if that person does do something wrong with that
just
gun?
'cause he
not
hasn't
even
done
necessarily
anything wrong.
that person, but like who else is in their household? Who else can get access to it?
That was the
How well are they actually keeping it locked away?
Wasn't that the issue with the
And then when you lock it away, is it even useful to you anymore to protect your home?
Right, exactly.
Because
Bill Burr had a great bit about that.
Yeah, like how all the pieces are in different rooms and shit. And he has to assemble it. when
And
the guy
yeah,
breaks in.
and like a point agreeing with that is with the Sandy Hook shooter, the two or three guns he used, if I remember correctly, they weren't even his. They were just guns that he found in his household.
could be.
And he
I don't
went
remember
out.
the
He went out and he got the ammunition for them, and then may or may not have killed all those children.
Yeah.
And this episode's
Alex
getting
Jones.
this episode's getting immediately removed because I said the word Sandy Hook.
Yeah, that's immediately flagged.
But
And I also said Alex Jones, so it's it. It's over.
Yeah.
But we were originally, and I said I didn't want to get on a rant about gun rights, but we did.
But you did, so.
Yeah.
So, but
What was the second thing? You had two things, right?
Did I have two things?
thought you had
Oh
two.
yeah. Would you guys watch a show that was The Bachelor but for homeless people?
Well, so there
That was the second thing.
is it a housed person like being presented with like 25 homeless people to choose from?
Or does he just have less homes?
No. It's
You know
a
what I mean?
homeless person, and The Bachelor is a landlord. And they have to go.
So it's 25 people vying for a room?
Yeah.
Like a hotel.
Yeah. So basically, my idea for this was you get like 20. Let's round it out to make it like a solid bracket, like March Madness. Let's have 64 homeless people.
Mm-hmm.
And then
In the great-
every episode, they've only got half the number of keys available to give them housing
so you go
in
from
this
like
apartment.
like 64 to 32 to.
And also, how does the
16
seating work?
Tic tac toe. They all play tic tac toe.
Okay, I can see that.
Or like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's like they all play chess.
They all either they either have to prepare a meal for the landlord, or like invite them over for like coffee or something, where they just have a conversation with them to get to know them.
You wonder how good their drive would be.
Story.
So my idea is you get 64 homeless people, right? The landlord in question is like, let's say we get all the homeless people in the Dallas Fort Worth area, and the landlord in question is none other than Mark Cuban. And he has like this 12 bedroom, 10 bathroom mansion. But these 64 homeless people have to compete.
See, I question the homeless people's drive because they're homeless. They haven't been working hard to get a job. So why would they work hard to win this contest, right?
Well, then would you want to...
That thought process is problematic to begin
That
with.
thought process is completely problematic because a lot of homeless people are homeless because of circumstance, not because of lack of drive.
They could work
and then it's a self-fulfilling issue because a homeless person can't clean themselves, make themselves presentable in order to apply for a job, or they're required a phone number to reach back to them with in order to have a follow-up to their interview.
And let's say that
smartphones are like $20, dude.
This was the conversation you and I should have had on the way back to my place instead of having him included.
The straight man, yeah.
I just question their drive. That's all.
But see, I would be down for it as long as the caveat is they do end up being given a home, regardless.
Right. But
it's just they don't get the really nice one that's initially being offered.
Well, that's the big money. That's like an American Idol.
It still gets all of these homeless people off the streets and into a better situation.
In American Idol, the original goal is to make it to Hollywood. So you get those 64 homeless people, and like the round of 16, all 16 of them, bare minimum, get a nice, 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom Victorian home in the DFW area. But then those 16 fight, and then the round of 8 gets like a 4-bedroom, 2-bath Gothic home in downtown Dallas. And then the final four is where it gets hectic.
There's a tier system, is what you're saying.
There's a tier system, but you have to make it to the Sweet 16 first. Right. That's the like with
I always felt like that with Millionaire though, because I was like, all right, well, I'll just win 2,000 or whatever, and then I'll just back out.
Yeah, but you have to pay. You have to pay it in taxes.
The thing is, with Millionaire, you get lifelines. You get 3 free answers, basically.
Yep. Did you ever see that Millionaire thing? It happened when we were younger. We were all kids. Where
we're all kids.
the guy had his phone a friend to the very end. And he used his phone a friend. He got the answer, and it was like, "What?"
Oh, he called the guy to tell him he was going to win $1 million.
He called his dad. Straight up, he called his dad, and he was like, "Hey, Dad, I'm on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?" He goes, "Oh, how you doing?" He goes, "Oh, I'm on the last question. I just wanted to let you know that I know the answer to this question, and I'm about to win $1 million. I love you."
It's the most fucking badass
dude.
Move.
Oh,
and he's fucking the deal with it glasses need to come.
And he's the only guy that's ever won it.
It that needs to immediately be followed with the that one meme of all the black guys going like,
oh, with a super hot fire.
Yeah.
With the one guy that's like this.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know what game show was my favorite was Deal or No Deal, but only when they did the week of deals where they did so usually Deal or No Deal is.
How come they didn't do a week of no deals?
It was like
that would have been fucking boring as shit.
Have you seen Deal or No Deal?
Yeah.
So like usually it's like $100. It's like $100, $1,000, $2, $3, $4, $5, $10, $20, whatever. But for the week of deals, they did it where half the board was $1 million and the other half of the board was $100.
Mm-hmm. Either way, you're walking out of there with $100.
Well, no, because if you win the $100, you have to pay taxes on it. Depending on the state of residency, you have to.
You get like $60 or whatever.
Yeah, you get to be able to buy like the new Call of Duty.
Yeah. Or so 4 months of Game Pass.
It's like Deal or Call of Duty.
Yeah. Deal or COD.
Deal or COD. Yo, speaking of COD,
like if I ever got onto Deal or No Deal, I would legitimately just do no deal like not even have any bit of conversation or justification for why, I'd just say no deal, but just no deal.
Yeah, just
And then just wait until it gets to the next part. No deal.
You ever play the Deal or No Deal game at the arcade? Because that's
Yep.
the best.
I was gonna say
I do the same exact
That's
thing
exactly
every
what
time I'm
you're supposed to do.
there. Yeah.
I don't remember how it works. So there's how many briefcases? There's
24.
Something
Okay,
like
and
that,
each one has a different amount,
Yep.
Yep.
and you're basically just trying to pass them up
You're
to try and
just
get
choosing
more.
which lady you want to see open her
Yeah,
box.
you
Yeah,
pick. No, we're back to The Bachelor now. Dude, I was thinking, how hilarious would it be to have not just me, but have me and Dom on The Bachelor together? But mostly me.
Is it the Bachelorette where you guys are...
Wait, we're the
Yeah,
only
who's the-
guys they could pick. Oh, so it's me and like 13 women?
No, the Bachelorette, you're vying for the same woman.
Yeah, no, Dom is the
But you and
Bachelorette.
Dom is the
but
Bachelorette.
you and Dom, rather than competing over, just hang out while all the rest of the guys compete over. and she's like, all these other people are trying really hard, and it's really like,
And it's like
it's
they're
really
like,
unnerving
let's-
to me.
They're
Like,
like,
you
let's.
guys are great.
They're like,
But that's what
you
you
guys are
want is
great.
the guy who's aloof. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
They're like, let's see what Dom and Jake are up to, and they like stop by our hotels are gone, so they stop by our motel room and they open the
You're
door.
watching King of
and
the Hill.
No, Dom and I are like sitting there, we're like drinking Natty Ice and we're watching King of the Hill. Like we both have our shirts off. For some reason, I have his insulin pump. Like,
Yeah.
and she's like, I want to hang out with these fuckers.
No, you're not. You're watching Deal or No Deal, and you're both like, no deal.
Yeah. It's always
But we're like, we have like a whiskey carafe, but it's just apple cider. Yeah, no, I thought about.
He's
I
got to
thought
be
about-
careful about how much he has, though.
I thought about how fun it would be. Like, okay, so yeah, The Bachelor is when it's one guy and like 12 women, right? I was thinking about
I think it starts at like 25.
25.
It's some crazy.
I
amount
have to
like
remember
that.
25 names hypothetically.
No,
You got to remember however many roses you give out in the first episode. So
that's
it's
right.
like that might cut it down to 12.
That's true.
I just thought about how fun it would be to be The Bachelor, but also like
The hunk.
I always wonder how long those last, those relationships, you know?
well,
Like, do they ever
wasn't,
talk about-
wasn't there was a big
They
controversy about how
follow
they're-
up on them.
Did they?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a controversy
It's like
about how. Well, there were most of them are pretty successful, but there was one that they revealed was like motivated based on the audience reaction because they were getting really bad ratings and
I used to watch a lot of what's the Gordon Ramsay one?
Love Island.
No, the one where he goes and redoes all the restaurants.
Oh,
Kitchen
Kitchen
Nightmares?
Nightmares.
Kitchen Nightmares.
With
he's
Amy's-
got so many shows though, so I don't.
Amy's
remember him.
Amy's Baking Company is the best one.
But the thing was, like, all those shows, they would follow up with him, and they'd almost always fail because
Yeah.
they don't really learn anything from what he shows and what he changes. They just kind of go back to doing what they were fucking doing. It's because those people had no business opening a fucking restaurant.
well, it's because all those people are also fucking insane.
Yeah, they are.
But like the Amy's Baking Company one is great. But there was also one that was like Guillermo's
Yes.
Pastaria,
Yeah.
where it was like whenever
seen
he,
too many of
whenever he, it was the one where it was the guy whenever he got anxious, like whenever he got pissed off, he would close down the restaurant in the middle of people eating.
oh
and
yeah,
then
that's
he
a
would
good move. It is a good move.
Yeah.
because then you don't have to do it anymore.
But he would like vacuum. He would vacuum in the foyer like
Yeah.
while people were eating and stuff. That episode was great. I loved. I used to love Let's Make a Deal with Wayne Brady.
That's because Wayne Brady.
It's Wayne
Yeah.
Brady. That show is actually probably my favorite game show because it's so stupid.
What was that other one that he did? Was it like the
Whose
singing
line is it
bee or
anyway?
something?
Huh?
There's another show that Wayne Brady did.
Whose
I
line is
think
it
it was like a kind of like, I think it was called The Singing Bee.
Could have been,
And it was
Probably
like
lasted a year.
you had to actually be able to remember the lyrics to a song, and the song would be like randomized or something.
There was one where they would play like a very short clip of a song. You have to guess what it was. I'm pretty sure.
Don't
There's-
forget the lyrics.
Yeah,
That's
what
it.
it was. I know they have one called like Beat Shazam or something now too, where you have to like guess the song before the Shazam guesses it.
That's tough.
Yeah, that's real tough. Fuck that shit.
Did you guys watch The Masked Singer at all?
No, I hear that's actually kind of cool.
I've heard it's interesting.
I watched the first
I watched
season.
I watched clips from it because
I don't want to sit through all.
what's
of it.
his name?
T-Pain won the first one.
Yeah, T-Pain. He's
Which-
got a fucking great voice.
He's ridiculous. Well, that's the thing is he was perfect because he's always auto-tuned as a featured singer.
Well, there's auto-tune guys that have really good voices, and then there's auto-tune guys that don't. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like,
did you know the... Oh, go ahead.
Who's the Post Malone? He talked about how he's wicked bad at singing, but he's like, oh yeah, that's all. He'll admit it too, though.
Yeah.
He'll be like, oh yeah, that's all auto-tune.
No,
I'm
Post is a
shit."
cool dude.
He's like, I'm shit at singing, so it's all auto-tune. Because everybody's like, dude, that was so good.
But that's like kind of part of his thing is that his music is very easily digestible.
Yep.
Like if I was at like a party and someone was like, "Oh, we're throwing Post Malone on," I'd be like, "All right, sick." Like I can jive to it, but it's not like I'm gonna sit there and be pissed. Like if it's whatever.
Right,
But
yeah. I know that guy. Those dudes.
no Post Malone. But the Masked Singer this season was
s-
cool. Go ahead.
Like real quick, gotta say the weirdest experience I've ever had at a party in the past probably like 3 to 5 years or so. I don't remember exactly when it was, but one of my coworkers was hosting a party, and I went over there, and that one song by Logic had just come out. The one that was like the suicide hotline number.
Oh yeah,
Was
yeah,
the
yeah.
title of the song.
Yeah.
And the song's super depressing until like the last
Like the last verse.
the last
basically.
verse of it. And it's just like that song played at least 2 or 3 times during that party, and I'm just like, there are people like dancing to it, and it's just like, this is fucking weird.
There's a Logic song that I
Yeah, it definitely is a thing.
yeah. Well, there's also like
I mean, that's the cool thing with music, though, is
Like,
you can have a
it's-
song that
it's
just
a-
goes hard, and
It's a great song, but it's like, this is a very depressing song, and people are drinking and partying to it.
there was a party I went
I
to.
was so unnerved by it.
Over the summer where they literally played Joji. They played like Joji's discography.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, his songs are literally about the fact that he's lonely and suicidal and he uses drugs to cope with it. And yet here we are, that bitch is throwing it back, She shouldn't have thrown it back so hard. I don't know.
right, yeah, she did throw it back hard. I
She threw
thought.
it back hard, dude. Like Jay Cutler hard. But the newest season of The Masked Singer was crazy because they had Victor Oladipo, who is the shooting guard for the Indiana Pacers. Like in all NBA, he's like a really good basketball player. But people forget that he was on the chamber choir for Indiana University and in his high school. He was like a nationally recognized singer. So people figured it out because he's like 6'6", 220 pounds. But it was really cool because, I mean, you have a fucking NBA player that's on The Masked Singer.
Right.
That,
Yeah, that is interesting for sure.
and actors and actresses and stuff that people like they take in people that they didn't know they could sing.
Yes,
Which is why
I like that.
T-Pain won, because people probably didn't know that T-Pain had that
Right.
good of a voice.
It seems like such a
It's the
difficult
octave
thing.
range.
It's a
We've
difficult.
talked about the octave range before.
How do you? It just seems too hard to guess that. How
Yep.
often they get that right. By someone's voice.
I think it's crazy that, like, because it goes by fan voting, if I remember correctly. So, like, if enough fans vote for a certain person, the judges.
Oh, so it is
will-
like kind of multiple choice in a way, right?
Well, there's 3 judges, I think.
Oh, they
and
take guesses.
They each
Okay.
guess who each person is, and then also the fans guess who the person is. And if all of them are wrong, that person survives to the next round.
It's rough.
And somehow T-Pain made it to the end, but it's not even.
Oh, he's great.
Yeah.
And also, his voice, like, without the auto-tune is unrecognizable
Exactly.
as the auto-tune version. Unless he's specifically singing his songs, and then you're like, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, what I want to let's probably wrap it
Also,
up soon,
no
but-
one watched his
Probably, yeah.
NPR video.
True.
Oh,
which came
man.
out before that.
I'll tell you what, like, there's some crazy shit on NPR music.
Yep.
I watched this dude the other day that has, like, just one string on his guitar. Awesome shit. Like, wicked cool stuff to vibe to.
I want to listen to that.
Yeah, I forget what it's called. It's something one string his name was. Whatever one string. But it was crazy. He puts like an E string on his, like, where the A string goes on the guitar, and he's only playing that one string, but he finger picks it and, you know, taps his guitar and shit. And it's really cool. But you discover a lot of cool stuff on there. I saw Snarky Puppy was on there a couple months ago or whatever. And,
Like, I don't like Anderson .Paak's, like, recorded music, but his Tiny Desk concert at NPR, it's amazing. Mm-hmm. And I think it's because, like, normally his stuff is, like, a bit more electronic,
right.
Digital drums, but, like, he plays the drums during his set, and it's great.
Right. Yeah, I love those acoustic sets, even when they just do it on a radio show or whatever.
Also, when I showed you Tank and the Bangers,
that was cool,
on
yeah.
NPR.
Well, did you ever listen to Baba to Bob by Kid Rock?
So, who do you got on Saturday? Well, it's going to be after. Well, when this comes out, it won't matter, but I still want to talk about it.
Like, MMA-wise?
Yeah, because I want to see Connor win, honestly. Although I love Don Cerrone. But
Yeah, I like Cowboy a lot, but
I think
like,
Connor's...
honestly, both of them, shitty people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cowboy used to go around, like...
Cowboys
get drunk at events and like hit on other people's wives and shit.
Yeah, he's a wild dude.
I think
I'm a cowboy.
I think he's mellowed out a lot.
Yeah.
So I think like,
especially because he almost died spelunking once.
Yeah, that story is insane.
Yeah,
hilarious.
I would be so goddamn. I would.
So
never
I don't
do
know.
that.
Like, I definitely don't like Connor as a person either. But
I think I've seen Connor did an interview with Ariel Helwani, and it was really good. Like, you actually get to see Connor not being like in character,
not being the showman,
and it was interesting. And I watched The Notorious on Netflix, and that's really good too. It shows like a lot of like his like outside life and stuff like that. Right. And I just started watching the Kevin Hart one too, which is really good. It's like a documentary about like Kevin Hart and all the shit he went through with the Oscars and all that. But like I want to see Connor win for real. Like I think I think
he's got a good shot at it.
I think Cerrone's been around for a long time. He's like gonna have.
I think it's weird that it's at 170 because both of them are like they're not cutting to get to this.
Yeah,
really.
So you wonder,
or they're not cutting extremely.
They're both pretty solid as far as cardio goes. I think they'll be able to hold up. I think it's Connor knocks him out or Cerrone chokes him out.
I kind of think it comes down to ring rust for Connor.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Has it been too long?
This is my entire argument for this fight.
Is Holly Holm fighting too?
Sure. Yeah, she is. But I legitimately don't care. I just hope it's a good fight.
Yeah.
Right.
I really want it. I like the last thing that I want, especially because
a first round knockout or
exactly.
something.
I want it to at least go 3 rounds.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I want. That's all I want. I don't care who wins. I just want a long main event fight.
Yeah, you don't want Askren Masvidal.
Even though we watched that here and that was hilarious. You were here for that, weren't you? No. Vinny was here for that.
I've missed so many of them in the past 2 years, probably.
Yeah, they happen all the time. That's part of the problem.
And they happen when I'm working almost consistently.
I get the only way I know is I have the UFC app and you can just put add to calendar or whatever on all the events. So I just go up into that like every couple of weeks and just hit add to calendar on all of them so that I remember. Otherwise, I fucking won't.
I usually like considering that when most UFC events start, it's usually between 8 to 10 p.m. I catch all of them on Saturdays.
Right.
Because even if I go to the bar, the bars that I go to have them on.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, the last one that I watched that I was super invested in was Askren and Maya, and that was sick because the main card started at 8 a.m. So I fucking went to bed early on Friday night and woke up at like 7 a.m. and started drinking at 7:30 and watched the whole main card and then watched Maya fucking choke out Astrid at like 10:30. It's fantastic.
Maya's so good.
He's so good. So underrated.
I want to try and find the card just to see what else is on there. Oh, guess you can't. Because they changed the entire layout of this.
Yep.
Wow, yeah, they totally changed this. What the fuck?
We'll just Google it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is it? What number is it?
Just type in UFC this
246.
weekend.
And McGregor, Cerrone, Holly
it is
Holm versus Raquel Pennington.
Alexei
Oleksiy,
Olenek. Ooh.
That's gonna be good.
Whoa. Pettis
Claudia
is fighting?
Gadelha is fighting too. Yeah, Pettis is the underdog.
Yep.
No way.
Yeah.
Yep. It's been a while for him.
Yeah. it
Well,
has.
he got his shit pushed in by Diaz, didn't he? Didn't he get destroyed by Diaz over the summer?
I think he did. Yes, that's correct.
I'm so far behind. I have no idea.
Yeah,
I didn't even know half
he
those
lost his
people.
last fight. I think.
Well, I think Raquel Pennington is beating Holly Holm. And I think like my heart says Cowboy.
Mm-hmm.
Because I just fucking hate the dick riding that everybody has with
For
Conor.
Conor, yeah.
Yeah.
Because you shouldn't be able
I
like
hate Connor fans more than I hate Connor.
exactly
It's like-
exactly.
yeah, I guess. Well,
It's the same way you guys feel about me dick riding John Jones. That's how
the
I
same
feel
way
about
I
Conor McGregor.
feel about like the Dallas Cowboys.
It's fair.
No, I mean honestly, it would probably be more like the Eagles because I fucking hate Eagles fans. But I don't really give two shits about the Eagles. Like I'm not gonna be upset about the Eagles winning games.
Oh, so that's how I feel about Bills
I feel
fans.
about John Jones the way I feel about Patriots fans.
Yeah, sort of. Although I also
That's the worst.
don't like John Jones that much, and I also don't like the Patriots that much. So
Yeah, that's why I made.
Well, that's the reason I like John Jones, because when he wins, people get mad.
yeah, I guess they kind of
and
do with
he's
Connor.
notoriously a cheater.
They do that with Connor too, though.
Yeah, but no, I don't like Conor. I don't like the fact that he thinks that if he comes back and beats Cowboy, he should be given a rematch with Habib. And I really
It
hope
depends on how. I think it depends on how he beats Cowboy.
No, I don't think it does, because you can't just come in after over a year off, beat Cowboy Cerrone, who is pretty much everybody's punching
Tell that to
bag.
GSP.
No, GSP and Conor are two completely different. Like, GSP is literally the GOAT.
GSP was like, I took 3 years off or whatever, and he's like, I'll just fight Bisping, take the title from him, and then walk away again.
No, there's a
Dude,
huge,
that's the most badass shit. He
there's
was
a
like,
huge difference. There's a huge difference with that, because
St. Pierre's like, I'm just going to take your title, and then he's like, oh, your title? See ya. And then walks away without it, basically.
no, there's a gigantic, and especially you should be ashamed for comparing.
He walked
GSP
away as
to
the
McGregor.
champ.
No, there's no comparing McGregor to GSP. It's not,
McGregor
it's-
walked away as the champ.
No, he didn't.
He did.
He walked away as the champ
Okay, yeah, okay. He walked away as the champ. Yeah,
because
that's
he
fair.
went to boxing.
and lost to Mayweather, and then he's like,
Which,
"Oh, I'm
no
gonna
surprise there.
It's boxing, and it's
barely
Mayweather.
lost, but still."
was-
No, that was
He-
pretty decisive.
He had a couple good. He had a couple rounds. That I
He
think
did a
won,
lot better than
for sure.
anybody would have expected him to
Right.
do.
Yes.
Because he made it to like what, round 10 or 11?
Sure.
9.
We'll take 9.
I mean, I've also seen.
But also, Mayweather wasn't, like, trying to knock him out.
Well, also
That's what
Mayweather
people
doesn't
say,
do that, but also Mayweather is literally the greatest boxer of all time.
Right.
But
Mm-hmm.
there's a big difference between GSP coming out of retirement after retiring or taking a hiatus as the greatest of all time and coming back to fight a guy that pretty much everybody wanted to see lose.
Yeah. Like, so, Connor isn't, like, someone who's defended his thing for all of this time and then retired as champion.
Exactly.
So I get what you're saying. But
he's a big enough name to where the tomato will
I
just
think
give
it's
him...
justified. Yeah.
I mean, I don't mind it. I'm going to
it's
watch
like,
him lose again anyway.
I don't think that...
But that would be it's similar with John Jones, right? He's won a bunch of titles. And when he leaves, it gets suspended.
I feel
when
like
comes
he
back,
needs to
shouldn't
have
he
a
get a
fight in
title
his
shot?
division at least. I feel like Conor needs to actually have a fight in that weight division
Agreed.
before he can get to the champion.
That's the thing about interim belts, too.
But then the thing with John Jones is that he basically dominated that division for what, like 6 or 7 years, gets suspended, comes back, wins again, gets suspended, comes back. And it's like, yeah, you know, my argument against Conor would also work against John Jones. But like Brian said,
it just feels
Conor never defended any of it. Like people are like, oh, he's the first UFC fighter to have two belts at the same time, but he never did shit with them.
Yeah. Defenses, I think, are very difficult to come by.
Yep.
Exactly.
Because you're going against a guy who's hungry, a guy who's fucking trying to win the title.
But like, if Demetrius Johnson came back, I would say, yeah, you get to
Give
face
him a shot, right? He's
whoever the
cleaned
champion
out
is.
the division.
Yeah.
The guy should fucking.
And he's
beat
cleaning
everybody.
out ONE FC
And
right
like,
now.
Yeah, he's so stupid. And
So
how
disgusting.
is he not
And he's
number
like
one pound for
35
pound of
years
all
old.
time? He's ridiculous. It's unfair. He's
Well,
literally...
I think honestly, and this is completely coming from a revisionist thing, where I've kind of looked into it recently. But Jose Aldo is getting slept on by pretty much everybody as being one of the best of all time.
Oh, yeah, Aldo's fucking amazing. If you watch anything he did in WEC,
Yeah.
just that.
And I really, really would love to see.
But also, it's like if you watch Faber in WEC and then don't watch his UFC career, there's a contrast, you know?
I would love to see George Masvidal break Conor's face, even though I know it's highly unlikely.
I would too, yeah.
But I would love to see that. George Masvidal is basically, in my opinion, a more likable version of Conor.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. I really
humble,
don't know why.
A little more humble character-wise is what
Barely.
Yeah.
Like a degree less.
Yeah,
All I know is
Like
that...
George is a
close.
total prick, but like
Yeah, I guess.
I don't like the fact that I don't know. I just like George more.
George doesn't have fans the way that Conor has fans.
That's got to be what it is.
Right.
That's probably it.
I still think Holloway is the guy. I think he's probably my favorite out right now. I really like Max because he is so... His character is fucking awesome. He's so good at losing.
Yeah, he's a gentleman through and through. Yoel Romero is my favorite fighter.
Yoel's a savage.
And him and...
Yeah, Jesus.
Yeah. No for gay Jesus. But him and Adesanya, they signed the dotted line finally. So that's happening. And it's also going to be Till and Whitaker,
Oh, shit.
which is fucked up because I love both of those guys.
That could be a good one.
And then obviously
Someone's getting hurt.
Jones and Reyes, which who the fuck knows? Jones might lose, honestly.
Yeah. We got
Jones
have
could
Anderson
lose.
Silva versus GSP.
We gotta get
2020.
Fedor versus Kane, dude.
Yeah. We got to get Lesnar versus The Undertaker. Dude, Lesnar is the scariest dude, I think.
I want Ngannou and Stipe literally ASAP. Stipe is fighting some guy.
Some guy.
I don't even remember
If
who
you
it
think
is.
of the name
Or
Brock
Ngannou,
Lesnar,
I mean.
like could you envision anything other than a scary guy when you think of just the name? Like Lesnar is kind of scary.
Ngannou is fighting Rosenstruik.
Yeah, he's actually on the uptick too.
Yeah, but Francis Ngannou, dude.
He's Francis Ngannou. Yeah, I'd run from that guy.
Guaranteed.
Oh, you're Francis Ngannou? See ya. Immediate full sprint.
Ugh. I don't know, man. Like, there has not been someone so decisively, like, a champion in the heavyweight division since Fedor in
Pride.
Pride.
Yeah, I would say so.
I would say Kane was up there for like a couple of years, but even then he only had what, like 3 or 4 defenses?
Yeah,
Kane-
because there were so many injuries
Yeah,
that delayed his fights.
Kane was really
I mean, Dos
good.
Santos won for like once, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The heavyweight division's tough, man. It's
Well,
so
that's
easy
why
to
it's
get
so
caught.
fun.
It's so
That's
easy
why
to
it's
get
so
knocked out.
fun, dude. I fucking love the heavyweight division, and it really, like, that's my biggest
I was
gripe.
always a fan of the middleweights because they had knockout power and they also were quick and they had
Yep.
cardio, they were athletic, they were right in that sweet spot. I always felt like it was just
Like middleweight,
it was more
welterweight.
dynamic.
I mean,
Yeah,
light
welterweight was really
like light
cool.
heavyweight. I've always liked because, like I said, I started watching UFC with John Jones. So
I think
the light heavyweight division has been stacked for a long time. I remember even 10 years ago when you look at the light heavyweight division, you're like, how is this roster existent? Because
Yep.
everyone in the top 20 was a fucking monster.
Yep. What was so weird for me when we started like watching, like getting serious about it, was like I hated the middleweight division
Yeah.
because it was Anderson Silva and everyone else. None of the fights mattered.
Yeah. And then light heavyweight was Chuck Liddell, Tito Ortiz, Shogun Hua, fucking, who else? Everybody. Forrest
Lyoto
Griffin,
Machida.
Lyoto Machida. Was Forrest was fighting at light heavyweight, right?
Yep.
I mean, it was just fucking ridiculous. And I mean, like you said, middleweight was a one-man show.
What was it? Rampage.
Rampage Jackson,
Johnson.
Rumble, yeah.
Yeah. Well, he wasn't there yet.
Are we talking about light heavyweight?
Yeah.
Rumble was,
What's his name? Rashad Evans.
yeah.
Yeah.
That was fucking
that
insane.
entire weight division was so stacked.
And anybody could come out on top at any time. Like you felt like anybody could beat anybody.
Yep.
Well, even nowadays, I feel like that with the light heavyweight division. But I feel the same way you do, where at least right now it's John Jones and everybody else. But you get guys like Volkan Ozdemir or Dominic Reyes or Corey Anderson or even Johnny
Gustafsson.
Walker, Gustafson, who may or may not be retired. Schrodinger's Gustafson, you know.
Yep.
Anthony Smith. And when Thiago Santos comes back, if he even comes back at like 85% of what he was, he's still a top 10 fighter in that division.
Mm-hmm.
But it's crazy because it's fucking crazy because all those I think right now where the UFC is it's in a very sweet spot where you could take the top 5 of every division and just throw the title at one of them and still come up with a good argument for it.
Right. It's also in a good spot spectator-wise because you can go, well, it's on every other week or every week, and hardcore fans are going to watch. They're going to know who's fucking good and who's not. Yep. And then the big fights, when they roll around, you still get casuals who go, I'll fucking watch that for sure.
Yep.
Oh, easily.
Because back,
That's where I'm at now.
yeah. But I remember, like, we used to get hyped for some of those fights. I remember there was fucking some shit. The first Shogun Machida fight, we were so hyped for that fucking shit.
Yep.
Because we were just like, for weeks leading up to it, I was like, Shogun's gonna win this. You're like, nope, Machida's got this. He's fucking. It was such a crazy close fight too, and it came down to like a split decision.
I still remember the first UFC fight I ever watched was Jones and Machida, and because I remember we watched. I don't know if you guys were there, but I remember watching it at Big Wes's house, and
We watched Lesnar Mir, UFC 100 at
I remember
Wes's
that one
house.
too.
That was scary. Mir got his ass beat.
But I just remember everybody that was at Wes's house was
That's
hyping
what it
up
was, hammer
Machida
fist.
and talking about how he was gonna throw some crazy shit that Jones had never seen, and then he did the standing guillotine.
Yep.
And just like, oh, here we go.
Yo, St. Pierre fought on UFC 100 too. It was St. Pierre Alves. Thiago Alves, I'm pretty sure. That was an insane card because I'm pretty sure Michael Bisping and Michael Bisping got knocked out. It was that crazy ass knockout. Who the fuck did he fight?
It was Chris Lieben. No, it wasn't.
If it was Lieben died and his face was bloody for 7 weeks. Because that's what happens.
Like every single Chris Lieben fight, like just had that one part where like he's got the person locked up and he's just doing this to their head.
That's his signature move. And then also bleeding was his also signature move.
But he was the one that started bleeding from him doing this.
Yeah, he's like, I'm bleeding now. This is how I die.
This is how it ends. Not with a gasp, but with a whisper. Going for gasps.
So yeah, that's it.
So yeah, we're over with.
wrap
I have
this
to
up.
pee and go home and take a shower and masturbate.
Yeah, cool. So yeah, thank you to everybody for 100 episodes.
It's been a good run.
It's been fun, and this is our last episode ever. Yeah, we've had fun, and we're gonna just keep doing it. So, thank you. Seriously, thank you, and thank you, because you were here for the first one. So,
What did I do?
you were here for all of them.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Well, thank you for doing all the work.
Whatever. Yeah, I appreciate all you guys, and I appreciate everybody who listens and watches. So, we'll talk to you guys next week.
And remember, don't give them clear shots.
ClearShotsPodcast.com is where you'll find links to everything we do. You can check us out on Twitter at ClearShotsPod. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and check us out on Periscope for live videos. If you have anything you want to ask us, send us an email at clearshotspodcast@gmail.com. Thank you for listening. We will see you next time.